Greg, the Shadow Show is not a visual experience, so how would you describe to the people through that mask what it is you're aspiring to today? What is your punishment?
It's not a punishment. I'm foreshadowing what I will actually look like in about, hopefully, 15 plus years when I'm laid to rest.
Jeez.
Why don't you go ahead and fix your mic there, Greg?
What's that?
Yeah, move it closer to you.
15 plus years.
Yes.
Okay, so because it's not a visual experience, nobody knows that you're wearing a skull.
A skull.
Looking
Yeah.
like Skeletor, dog.
No crossbones, just the skull.
What are you supposed to be doing in terms of grid punishments?
I have no. This is not a punishment. This is voluntary.
This is just you for Halloween.
Living life
Yeah,
has
I'm in the
no
spirit
grid
of a
punishments.
holiday.
Okay, so you just wore this mask because you were in the mood. You already started complaining before we even started that it's too hot, that you're not going to be wearing it all show, but you
Right.
chose to do this. You're not. It's not even something you have to do. You just simply chose to do it.
It's a temporary thing, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like when you put one of those things on Instagram that lasts about a minute and a half. You know, it's
Instagram
Oh, it's a
story?
disappearing message.
Yeah, you see it and then it's gone.
Yeah.
Whatever that is,
I just told you what it is.
a disappearing message, something like that.
I think he meant Instagram story, which lasts 24 hours.
I did.
Yeah, but you said it only lasts a couple minutes.
Oh, I was thinking of what's that thing they used to have that lasted 6 seconds? A Vine. I was thinking of Vine. I loved Vine. My most popular Vine was I did one on the 4th of July, and in 6 seconds I recited the whole Pledge of Allegiance. You got to go back.
I
If
don't
Vine
believe
is still
you.
available, you got to listen.
Do you
to
think
that.
you can do it right now? Do
If
you think-
Vine is
do you-
still available.
in 6, 7 seconds? Yeah, I can still do
All
it.
right, let's see if you can do it. Go ahead and try and do it
I
right.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the
Okay, that was
Failed.
longer than 6 seconds.
Failed.
You
I
did
know,
not.
plus I forgot
Greg's
the word.
defense, it was definitely under 6 seconds.
You need to try to do that again and honor America a little bit better. Let's try it again.
I'll do it on the 4th of July. Right now, let's not disrespect Halloween. Okay, let's take them one holiday at a time. I'm like a coach taking them one game at a time.
I thought it had been more like, let's not disrespect the anthem.
Well, you know, it's just words.
As opposed to Halloween, which is an important spiritual
Exactly.
holiday you wouldn't want to
Yes,
disrespect.
that's right. You know, some people are spooked by Halloween. I have a neighbor up the street. I'm not going to name them here, but they're
Name 'em.
They're very religious people.
Okay.
And they do not put up any Halloween directions because they think it disrespects.
It's a pagan holiday.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Roy
I don't
doesn't
agree with
celebrate
that, man. I got all my decorations up. They look fantastic.
Why are you dragging Roy into this? Roy didn't ask to be dragged
That's
into
canon.
this.
Yeah,
That's
canon.
He's openly admitted that he also doesn't celebrate Halloween.
That is correct. We don't celebrate Halloween at the
Why's
house.
that,
Roy? Religion.
So
Christian.
you are the neighbor that Greg is talking about that all the other neighbors are judging for being anti-costume in name of
You didn't want to name him, though.
of their god.
No, but I
just
respect
name
that.
myself.
Look at Greg's face. He's judging Roy.
Can you tell? I'm a grinning skeleton. I'm grinning behind this mask. Not that it's a mask.
You're gonna last about 15 minutes in this. I can already tell you're
Oh,
gonna start
it's
complaining
terrible.
very early.
Yeah.
Winners on face off, now the time is here. Mix 'em up and you're changing on the fly. Hit checks, hat tricks are gonna make them cheer. Got the blocks time to chirp and riding high. Now it's time for action. Tonight's gonna burn this barn right up. Slap shot will light the lamp so nice. Let's go for a breakaway on the chase to raise the cup. We'll be standing on our heads till we meet 'em at center ice. Hockey is back, Jack. Hockey is back, Jack. Hockey is back, Jack, baby, and we'll meet you at center ice.
We've got a frozen frenzy tonight, all of the hockey teams playing, and also our baseball is back intro is not yet ready, so we cannot celebrate the greatest baseball game ever played that I don't believe anyone here, except for Jeremy, lasted until the end of. Mike Ryan got woken by his television and, groggily ran over to it to turn it off because surely the game's still not going on at 2:30, but it was still the game. It wasn't a re-air. It wasn't one of those re-airs that you get, you get of the Marlins or the Rays the next day of a night game the day before because they've got to fill the programming. That had to be confusing to people last night at 3 a.m. to be stumbling towards your television and to see an empty Dodger bullpen and Shohei Ohtani walked 5 times in a game.
I feel like today, all around on radio, on television, all the sports shows, like let's just point out who's lying about having watched the entire game last night. There's gonna be so many liars today.
You got to figure that very few people made it through that who aren't diehard baseball fans.
But everyone's going to portray that they saw it.
Well, I got caught up this morning, right? I was watching this morning with my wife. She had a whole lot of commentary on what we were watching. She asked why Clayton Kershaw, she doesn't know who Clayton Kershaw is, obviously, but why he looks so old. She thought he was in his 50s. I'm like, that's the greatest left-handed pitcher ever. And she's like, it looks like the Big Lebowski. It looks like Jeff Bridges from the Big Lebowski.
Looks like the dude?
Put up this photo.
He said
It was lefty. It'd be close.
they brought in Jeff Bridges in the 12th inning. I don't know if you guys saw that particular at bat. Dodger fans, that had to be as scared as they were all season. Bringing him in with the bases loaded, seeing him go to a 3-2 count, seeing him throw 2 balls that he got bailed out on with foul balls and get out of the inning. But put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Did Clayton Kershaw look older than Sandy Koufax last night? Because the other thing that my wife had as commentary was Sandy Koufax was in the stand. She's like, that person's too old to be dealing with 2 baseball games, essentially, 18 innings of baseball. And I'm like, but he began the game as a young man, as a toddler. He started, and he's just 90 now. I wanted them, by extra innings, I wanted them to just start putting runners on second again, like they do during the regular season. It's dumb that they do it differently during the postseason than they do it during the regular season. The regular season rule is just, hey, let's wrap this up.
Well, I mean, we saw that was the hockey version. That was the Stanley Cup playoff version we saw last night. I mean, we get that game last night, once a playoff in the Stanley Cup playoffs where they end up playing 2 games. And, all right, we got it for baseball. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I saw the game. I'm not.
We don't get a lot of 3 overtime games in hockey, Zaz. We don't get a lot.
You'll get it once,
Yeah,
once a postseason.
You get one that goes to like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
A postseason.
Had it gone 20 innings, Koufax would have been in the bullpen warming up. Look, even if it's a triple overtime hockey game, it doesn't last 6 hours and 39 minutes. That's excruciating. It never
it was
ever
great.
happen
No,
again.
it was wait a minute.
Brilliant.
It was great. It's the greatest baseball game any of us have ever seen.
It would have been if it ended in 12.
Well, if any of us had seen it. It would have been the
Yes.
greatest baseball game anyone had ever seen if anyone had seen it to completion.
I chose to go to bed after 17. I watched the 17th inning in my bed on my phone, and then Ohtani makes the final out of 17. I'm like, oh, am I going to wait?
So you stayed
3
up
more
until
innings?
2:30 to
Yes.
then just miss 1 inning
Right.
of action.
I mean,
that
I'm
ended.
falling
why
as-
was 17
Because
the
I'm
cutoff?
falling asleep.
Woof.
I can
And
tell you why. It was the 7th inning nap. That's what you needed. The 17th inning nap.
17th inning.
The 17th inning
I
nap.
wish you had a photo, like a fly on the wall staring at me while I was just crushing pretzels in the 14th inning.
I was
Yeah, that's
just
the move,
standing
right?
up.
In order to stay awake for these late games, like I'll go get a box of Cheez-Its.
I'm wandering around my living room. By the 12th inning, I was
Yeah.
ready to fall asleep.
gotta stand.
And so I stood for basically the rest of the game. And I was just like falling slowly all over the place, stumbling just to keep myself awake so that I could watch what was the most brilliant baseball game I've ever seen.
How we feeling about this over here?
Are you green with envy?
It's a little dark. I don't know. It's on the line. Can we have like a first base ump to check the swing here?
Did he go?
Is this racist? Roy? Checking the swing?
Why asking Roy?
All right. All right.
Wow, he did not go.
Thank God.
Safe
Yeah,
signal.
you got to think about it a little bit.
I saw that all of a sudden the bolts were being put in Jeremy's neck right before we started. We forgot that part of the costume. I do want to go back for a second on Greg Cody and just marvel at the greatness that is Greg Cody. I have an assortment of Greg Cody sound that we're going to get to in a second from the Greg Cody Show featuring Greg Cody, but I just want to sort of rewind on the telestrator what happened seconds ago and warn the audience that we're going to get a worse version of Greg Cody than we usually do because this mask is distracting and will weigh him down. These costumes are hard to do. Every time I do one, I leave here with a headache, like physically leave here with a headache. You
looked spent yesterday in your big wool suit.
Yeah, it was hard to do. It is hard to do. And what Greg just did, and you will see this deteriorate over the course of the show, he tried to make a seventh inning stretch joke about the 17th inning nap. He called it the 7th inning nap. The joke didn't make any sense. Right. He shouldn't have spoken. He instead spoke poorly, botched the joke, then tried to correct it, and it wasn't a joke worth telling in the first place, even if he had told it correctly.
7 doesn't divide into 17. Like, maybe if it was the 14th, you could have said, 14th inning
I don't
stretch.
think that saying the 17th inning nap, I don't think anyone correlated that to the 7th inning stretch.
Yeah,
which
17th. Yeah, it worked. If I'd gotten it nailed at first, and said the 7th inning nap, it would have killed. But nothing is better for a joke that didn't quite hit than over-analyzing it and reviewing it like this guy just did. That's what really works. So thank you for that.
Let's go back to the Greg Cody Show featuring Greg Cody. This is something he's been doing since I've known him as a young, back when Greg Cody was a young person. There was a time. Greg Cody has been, because he drinks so many beverages, used to be a ton of diet soda as well, he's perpetually burping, and after he burps, he always closes his burp like a gymnastics routine that has a dismount in it. He always closes his burps with a word of some sort.
There's a few. There's a few that he does.
Well, the one I've heard most often, I believe the gold medalist is Brad, to just say the word Brad after a burp. What are the bronze, silver, and gold medalists of words that you always say after a burp?
I've been told they sound like words. Okay, the one that can be misinterpreted as Brad is probably my most common, and the other one, of course, a lot of people say it or say the sound is sack.
Let's tackle these one at a time. I have everything we're talking about here. So these are all in the wild while taping the Greg Cody Show within the last couple months.
Let me reframe it for the audience, okay? Because I do want to understand when this began, how this began, and want to explain even better to the audience what this is. It's you as a sonic experience. The burp sounds like a word that you then conclude randomly with the name Brad?
Well, no, I don't say Brad. People think it sounds a little like Brad. The problem is this, okay? When a dog barks, he doesn't really say bow wow, right? He says something that, in the cartoons, it says bow wow. They don't say bow wow. When a human being burps, it doesn't sound like the word belch. I'm not going belch. So when anybody burps, they emit a certain sound. I have been told that a couple of my random sounds sort of sound like words. I can't help that. That's on the listener. That's not me.
Let's go through these. So here's the first one. Like you said, Dan, the most common, it's just a Brad.
Brad.
That's the most common one you'll hear.
It's a burp.
Brad.
Because it's like you're clearly burping. You could just stop there.
Brad.
Why do you say Brad?
To get it out. You're loosing into the wild the burp.
All right, and this one is from this most recent episode. We were doing Greg Doesn't Know Movies, and this one's my favorite. We got a sack in the wild.
What's next? Moving on. Sack.
What? I think. Damn it. Luckily, we can isolate.
Okay, what's next? Moving on. Sack.
Explain yourself.
My favorite part was Michael going, wait, what? I can't explain that. It's just a sound that comes out.
And
Your mic wasn't on.
And we punctuate with ass wipe.
What are you doing tonight? You got anything fun going on?
Let's try it again.
Swipe.
Flawless.
Swipe.
What are you doing tonight? You got anything fun going on?
Wait,
He
so
just goes on with his life.
he says it
Like it's
then
normal.
repeats it back, and then just asks me how my day's going. Play it
Did
one
you
more time.
did you sniff the ass wipe after you? Like it sounded like you sniffed.
Swipe. Ass wipe. What are you doing tonight? You got anything fun going on?
He's an odd
when
man.
I whispered it afterward, I was mocking myself. Because that's another sound that people tell me sounds like ass wipe. So I'm mocking myself. Self-deprecating. Sack.
All right. I believe this is exactly the appropriate coverage that we should have after the greatest baseball game ever played, the greatest World Series game ever played. Freddie Freeman is now the only player in the history of the World Series and the history of that sport, which obviously has a lot of history, to have multiple walk-off game winners. This one straight to center field, off a left-hander, Little. Like the beginning of that at bat, you could see that he scared Little by how much he had him timed. Hits a foul ball that is screeching, and then works a 3-1 count. The 3-2 pitch should have been ball 4. But instead, they called it a strike, and then what happens is he hits the ball still over the center field fence. Is Freddie Freeman – I know Hank Aaron exists, okay, and the advanced metrics will tell us more about on-base percentage and slugging, and Hank Aaron will forever be, I assume, the greatest Brave. But is Freddie Freeman the second greatest Brave that there has ever been? Because Dale Murphy won a couple of MVPs.
We're only doing hitters.
Well, because you want to do Greg Maddux.
Yeah, like I want to do Maddox and Glavine. Yeah,
I think Larry's better than
Smoltz.
Freddie.
You think Chipper Jones is better than Freddie Freeman?
I think they probably hold Chipper in higher regard.
The reason I'm only doing hitters is because they play every day, right? So I don't think of I guess I could say that certain best players in franchise histories are pitchers, but when you play once every fifth day, I don't think of you as.
I think Mike's right. I think it's Chipper. I think Mike's right. But I will tell you, I feel like is Freddie Freeman the most likable player in baseball?
No.
No? Why do you say that?
His teeth.
Those teeth were gleaming. Those perfect fake teeth were gleaming as he rounded the bases. They
Looks
are
like
perfect.
the mask.
They are perfect. They are too perfect. Your objection is that
Chiclets.
they're too perfect.
It's like
Those
Matt
teeth.
Dillon and Something About Mary. What are we doing?
So likable, Freddie Freeman. How do you not root for him?
I don't like him.
Put it
Chiclets.
on the poll at Le Batard Show. Do Freddie Freeman's teeth look like Matt Dillon in Something About Mary?
What a
Because
movie.
They do look a bit oversized, and they do look a little bit too perfect, especially perfect while rounding the bases. How many of you, Roy, did you I know that Chris reached out to his father and asked him by text, how deep did you get into the game? And he said, by the time the Chiefs scored the third touchdown, I was out. So that's not
not that game.
The World
the
Series,
fourth.
the fourth touchdown.
When the football game scored became 28-7, I went to bed. I don't know exactly when that was in the baseball game.
Probably like
I
the
was
seventh
toggling
inning.
Back and forth.
It was, Jeremy, I want some of your thoughts as someone who did get to the end of that baseball game. There have to be some statistics from that game that have never been seen in the history of the sport. I don't think that Dodger fans were more nervous at any point than when Clayton Kershaw was in the game with the bases loaded. And my guess is that they were questioning Dave Roberts, even though he went lefty on lefty, for bringing in Clayton Kershaw in that spot. I'm so happy that Clayton Kershaw got that out, because the last outing of Clayton Kershaw's postseason was a total disaster and would have been the punctuation on his Dodger career, where he's just sort of hanging on as the greatest left-hander ever to just get a ring that he didn't deserve because he wasn't doing much of anything effective by the end.
Dave Roberts had talked about wanting to bring in Kershaw at some point during the World Series, but that was like with the hope that you had an 8-1 lead in the ninth inning, that type of deal, where maybe that ends up happening in a clinching game and he gets to be on the mound. That's really honestly what I'm kind of rooting for at this moment. But to see him in that moment come in and throw 6 pitches, 5 of which were sliders at 89 miles an hour, and 1 of which was a fastball at 91 miles an hour, because that was the hardest pitch he's thrown since July of last year. The guy has nothing left in that arm. He's got the grays everywhere in the beard, and he comes in the biggest moment, 3-2, bases loaded, 2 outs, and gets out of it. And you thought, oh man, well surely the Dodgers are going to walk off now. And then there were 6 more innings played.
So what's going to be the fallout now? Because they used like 10 pitchers last night, and they're playing again tonight.
Everybody was used.
Yeah.
I mean, Shane Bieber, the starter for today, was out in the bullpen getting ready. Yamamoto, who threw a complete game in Game 2, he was out warming up in the bullpen in the 18th inning. I mean, Will Klein.
Be crazy. If
The Will
Yamamoto
Klein
came
story is
in.
insane. The guy who threw 4 innings.
He pitched 4 innings, and he only allowed a couple of hits.
One hit to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He's a guy who's 25 years old and had a career 5.16 ERA
Got the
going
win.
into last night. He throws 4 shutout innings. Mind you, that's like 5 hours after Tyler Glasnow only threw 4 2/3 to start the game and allowed a couple of runs himself.
I mean, for Toronto, this Eric Lauer pitched more than the starter Matt Scherzer
That's right.
did.
He threw 4 2/3 innings, and Max Scherzer only threw 4 1/3.
So is everything screwed up for tonight
Yes,
now? Or?
of course.
I mean, everybody's thrown.
But it's gonna be one of
everybody.
those. Okay, yeah.
And these are the 2 teams that had the most comeback wins in baseball. They're 2 teams that, by the way, have bad bullpens. Those are mediocre bullpens for teams that have gotten to the World Series. The fact that they pitched the way they did, that's why it's the greatest game ever played, because you had a bunch of nobodies.
And there's going to be carryover.
And in
to
the
next couple
middle
games.
of it, you had Clayton Kershaw come in there as the first ballot Hall of Famer and get one
That's
out.
not why it's the greatest game ever played. It's the greatest game ever played because it went 18 innings. The fact that the bullpens are bad is particularly interesting when you consider the Blue Jays really mash. They really hit the baseball. They had 4 runs by the 4th inning and finished with 5 runs once they got into that bullpen, which is the Dodgers' only weakness. The Dodger bullpen is the only weakness that baseball team has, and it gave them, this is crazy to say, 14 innings against that offense of 1-run baseball. 14 innings.
Those bullpens did pitch well, but it should be noted that the ball was not flying. Like they kept commenting how it's going to be colder tonight. It was colder last night. It's going to be warmer. The ball will be flying better tonight. And I loved hearing Smoltz throughout the game just deteriorate and get annoyed with how every ball. How many balls to the warning track were there in extra innings?
Well, that's what it was.
Every
they were back
inning,
to
it
back.
felt like they were excited about a ball leaving the park, and then it would just be. It was a game of inches.
In the 13th inning, you had a bunt from Miguel Rojas that was like one of the most beautiful bunts you're ever going to see. It almost
On
hit
a
him in
high
the face. It almost hit him in the face, and he laid it down on the sacrifice bunt. And then you end up with intentional walks to both Ohtani and Betts to load the bases to get to Freddie Freeman, where you're thinking, all right, here's his moment where he'll walk off. And he hits a bomb, and it dies at the warning track.
He could tell right away. He could tell it wasn't out.
But then in the next inning, in the 14th, Will Smith comes up, and he thinks he got all of it.
He pimped
and
it.
Also dies at the warning track. That's why the Freeman home run is so crazy, because the temperature was dropping the further we got throughout the game. They kept mentioning it's going to be 90 degrees tomorrow. The ball's going to be flying. Every reason for tonight's game to be one of those games where it's like 11-9, because bullpens are tired. Starting pitchers are going to need to go deep. And, the starting pitcher for the Dodgers, it's Shohei Ohtani.
Dan, you know about that Ohtani?
He's a pretty good baseball player. They didn't want to be pitching to him last night, and he hit a home run anyway early in the game.
Can I beg the question? Okay, you decided after 4. Why'd you make that face?
Because you can't beg the question.
You can't
That's
be the
not
person.
appropriately
Start by
said.
begging.
I'm gonna beg this question.
Start by
begs
begging.
it begs the
say
question.
Why
Beg
didn't they
the
walk him
question.
earlier in the game? First base was open on 3 of his first at bats. You just figured out that he's good after 4 for 4? Because after 4 for 4, they're like, now we clearly can never pitch to him again. I mean, I a little hindsight here. Like what? Like you're just gonna throw to him until he goes 4 for 4 with 2 doubles and 2 home runs. Oh, and then you're gonna have this groundbreaking idea. Hey, let's not pitch to him anymore. Probably should have done that the first 3 at bats when first base was open.
I mean, the second home run, you're
Should have
up.
started the game.
You're
Walk
up.
him.
Okay, so he starts the game with the double, and you're saying you should have intentionally walked him to begin the game. Do you think they're going to do that today?
I'm just saying they made the decision midway through the game. We're done pitching to him.
Yeah, because he was 4 for 4 with 4 extra base hits, 2 of which were home runs, and the second one was a game-tying home run. But when you're up by 1, you're not going to intentionally walk him to get to Betts where now they could take a lead. You let the solo run hurt you.
Yeah,
but
you idiot.
God, he's amazing. He's the greatest athlete who's ever lived. He is.
I mean-
Fact. End of discussion. Greatest athlete who's ever lived. Do you know who he's in conversations with both on the mound and at the plate? I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna go try to create a Venn diagram of all of the different people he's just joined statistically.
Yeah, you go.
I'm going to go. You guys are going to miss me, but I'm going to go.
No, I'm not normally in favor of your Venn diagrams, but if it means you'll leave, I'm going to be in favor.
I love you too.
I'm going to be in favor of that, and you can leave for a second.
Have fun having this conversation with a
Babe
bunch of
Ruth.
people that have not watched the game.
Oh, we're not going to have the conversation.
We weren't having fun with the conversation that was with the person that was watching.
I'm also
the
skeptical
game.
that Jeremy watched it.
Are you?
He was in the group text until like 1 a.m. I know he popped up at 3 a.m.
There's
and
going to be a
tweeted
lot of
about it.
liars today. I already
I'm just
told you
saying,
that.
there was a big gap in the group text. He was involved until like 1 a.m. and then
I'm willing to hear
It was
this.
just, it was me and Kyle Seeloff into the wee hours. I didn't see any of Jeremy in the group
Pick that
text.
name up.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Are there going to be a lot of liars in the media today about having watched all 18 innings of that game?
I'm going 90% of the people on television and radio today who are talking about the game and claiming they saw it did not.
Well, but what is your ruling on this? Because what I've been doing, and I've been doing this for a while because there's just so much going on in sports. I don't know what these are called. It used to be called Cliff Notes when we were talking about getting condensed versions of a book that was just 30 pages instead of 300 pages. But I watched that game last night for a few innings on the front end, and then when I get caught up, I'm watching the boxed form of like 15 minutes of here are all your important moments in the game with all of the fat cut out, which our algorithm gives you on just anything you want to watch. If there's a football game that you have not seen on YouTube, you can catch, they'll give you in 15 minutes everything that you need so that you're not actually missing anything. They can cut all the fat out of it. And so do people in the audience know what Cliff Notes are? Like, is that still
Like the original Cliff Notes?
I don't know.
Probably
Who
not.
is Cliff? Who is Cliff? Is Cliff a person? Is
the guy who took all the notes for us, dog.
who? What is the history of Cliff Notes? Is it named after somebody whose first or last name is Cliff? Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Do you know? Have you heard of Cliff Notes? First of all, because I imagine there's a generation that doesn't know about Cliff
You know
Notes.
who has right here. That's the original cheat sheet. You thought AI was cheating in the classroom. Cliff Notes was the original
Saved
cheat
me
sheet.
in school, Cliff Notes.
Why am I reading Grapes of Wrath? Cliff Notes can give it to me in a minute and a half.
Save it for
I
back
write a
in my
book
day.
report. I haven't even opened a book.
Save
Cliff
it.
Notes.
Save it. Back in my day. It's perfect.
Actually, give him the Back in My Day music and see if he can do a Cliff Notes version right here.
It
off
is
the
a
top of-
Tuesday.
He hasn't tried to do a Back in My Day in over a year. I
Yeah,
think.
I'm too busy singing songs for the Le Batard Show, producing music. It's tough to do everything, Dan.
Cliff Notes was started by a Nebraska native by the name of Clifton Hillegrass in 1958.
There you go.
So it's his first name, and he even shortened Clifton. Like he just kept. It wasn't even. It wasn't. His name wasn't Cliff. It was Clifton.
No one would say, hey, can you get me those Clifton notes? Cliff Notes, so much
Yeah,
better.
Cliff Notes.
I would've-
Teachers used to ban it.
I would have guessed that Cliff was his last name. Wouldn't you have guessed?
No.
Who do you know
I would've guessed
named
right.
Cliff? Last
Jimmy
name
Cliff.
What are you, insane?
Jimmy Cliff.
Jimmy Cliff. There you go. I like it.
We have talked a
The
lot.
harder they come.
We have talked a lot about the baseball game, but I did want to talk about a couple of things locally. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about locally is the feisty Shannon Dawson. He gives good press conference. He is better speaking spicy than any coordinator that I can remember in the University of Miami's history since Gary Stevens. What is he upset about here? That the fan base is complaining about how stubborn he is about running it straight up the middle, even though for 2 games there's been nothing straight up the middle?
Let's set the tone with this 8-second clip, please.
And so the question about the ball hitting up the middle, I mean, they can keep asking it and y'all can keep asking it, but I'm not going to change what we're doing.
That was pretty much the entire press conference. He goes a little bit more into detail. Now, look, Miami is primarily a shotgun team. It's hard to run outside in the shotgun. You have limited options, and he tries to, you don't know ball, the assembled press.
Infatuation of how do you want me to get the ball outside with the running back? It's a question to you. How do you want me to do it?
I'm not the offensive.
You want me to run option? Okay, I'll run option with Carson. That's smart. Genius.
Toss sweet.
You run toss sweep from underneath. Yeah, we'll go underneath.
How does that impact the defense, though? What you're saying obviously makes total sense, but
Does it?
it does.
Okay.
But you've got a gap.
I got asked that question a lot. I don't think it makes total sense, to be honest with you.
Asked nothing more than this.
Why'd you being a dick?
Well, because Shannon Dawson, look, he had the greatest offense in the history of the University of Miami, aided by one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play at the University of Miami, a quarterback that would often check out of plays at the line of scrimmage. But Shannon Dawson has been a really tremendous hire for Miami. That being said, this isn't a good faith discourse because the problem isn't that you're running a gap. That's a team's identity. The problem is you're running a gap when teams are selling out to stop the a gap.
Right, like when he says I'm not going to change. Well, why wouldn't you change if someone's not working?
He has shown in his time here that he can be a bit stubborn, and I think the blueprint is out on Miami how to beat them. Not super disciplined. They'll have pre-snap penalties. Maybe you can bait them into it. It'll put them in bad running situations, and they're still going to have a running game that lacks creativity. Again, not asking to become an outside zone team, not asking to find a way to run a stretch from a shotgun, asking for about 4 outside runs a game, which is an uptick from what we usually do. And they usually do have big plays there. I think for Shannon Dawson, I get where he's coming from. There's a lot of people saying, why are we running up the middle that have no idea how it works? I get that. The problem is you're running a gap when teams are effectively stopping it, and you don't seem to have an answer.
So let me ask the group this question because I've told the story before. Jimmy Johnson, when he was coaching the championship Cowboys, was always asked, why don't you run more screen plays with Emmitt Smith, screen passes? And he's like, we're not good at it. We don't do it well. He's tired of this question. And I understand this question. It's easy to be the offensive coordinator from Section 129 when things aren't working. You've always got a better solution. So the frustration, he keeps getting the question because over the last 2 games, after a few games when I thought they were going to run up the middle on everyone all season because their offensive line looked that good, after 2 games of total constipation up the middle, when the coach is telling you this honestly as someone who has more information than all of us do, how do you want me to do it? We're not good at it out of the shotgun. And Mike and we keep saying, well, just try it a couple of times to the outside. We see people out of the shotgun throw pitches to the side out of the shotgun. I see the Chiefs do it. There are plenty of people doing it. You can run outside out of the shotgun.
In Shannon and Miami's defense, it's only 1.5 games. In the second half, they broke through. A gap, finally, you asserted your will and you broke teams down, and it didn't matter that they had an advantage in the box. But to Dan's point, a little bit more creativity. It should also be noted that Shannon Dawson did not design the running game. That responsibility landed primarily on Alex Mirabal. Shannon Dawson calls the plays. But you have to have tendency breakers. Miami has very clear tendencies. We saw it against Notre Dame even when they failed to get a first down, and we saw it a little bit against FSU. Creativity in the play calls help you ice a game, and Miami struggled in that department. And I think that ultimately the stubbornness there, unless they infuse some creativity and have some tendency breakers, that might be this team's undoing.
I think an alternative to pitching wide is to throw real quickly to Fletcher in space, like the Dolphins have been doing successfully with Achane. There's another way to get a wide play without the traditional pitch.
I feel like they did that a lot on Saturday.
Zagacki, they had some varying levels of success. We've seen it be successful with C.J. Daniels and Malachi Toney. There was one bewildering play call to Elijah Lofton, who I'm a fan of, but sustained an injury in fall camp and is not in the same kind of shape that he was last year. He was always a heavier guy with a weird body type, kind of a tweener that you didn't know what exactly to do with, but getting him in space doesn't seem to be the move so far.
The numbers say otherwise on what it appears to your eyes is happening because Pro Football Focus, 79 of their runs have gone directly up the middle. Those runs are averaging 4.1 yards per carry. Also, another 54 additional interior runs have gone between the guards and tackles, and those are averaging 5.5 yards a carry. But UM's outside runs are averaging 4.2 yards per carry when they try it, and that's good enough.
The context there, though, is maybe those numbers got fat. Let's see after FSU, because there's a line in the sand when it comes to how teams decided to play Miami once they established their tendencies. And the running game since FSU hasn't been what it was pre-FSU, and that's because FSU decided we're going to make Carson Beck beat us. Now, they lived by the sword and died by the sword in that game. Carson Beck made them pay, made incredible plays out of play action. You had the combination of a team selling out to stop the run game in this first half that was very troublesome if you were a Miami fan, and Carson Beck wasn't checking out of it, and we were also not trusting him all that much to make the big plays, and that was a little concerning to me, and I'd hate to see Miami season get derailed because they were stubborn and married to a certain plan.
No, wait. It already has been derailed. It just hasn't been totally derailed. Look, Louisville gave everyone the blueprint. Gave everyone the blueprint on how it is you beat this football team. And the offensive coordinator just put his name and voice on, I'm not changing. Keep asking all your questions. I'm answering honestly. We don't do that well. We don't know how to do it. When he throws the question back at the media, how would you like me to do it? He's telling you flatly, I have not had success with this over the last, 6 of the last 8 quarters, and I get this question a lot, and I'm tired of this question. He's not telling you I appreciate the question. He's not answering the question by saying we're going to do anything differently. He's saying in your face, I don't care how upset you are about this. If you're going to beat us, you're going to beat us because you've stopped us from running up the middle. We're going to continue to try to do that, and we think we can wear everyone down the way that we wore Stanford down.
It's a gutsy move. He may end up being right, but when you put your name to those quotes and you go at people like that, if you have another first half against Stanford or you have another game that you had against Louisville, it's held against you that much more. So ballsy from Shannon Dawson, who I hold this man in very high regard. I think he's a really good offensive coordinator, but I think this team is a little bit stubborn. And quite frankly, when Tyler Van Dyke short-circuited a little bit, that wasn't all Shannon Dawson either. Mario Cristobal got involved and said, hey, he's turning the ball over too much. If we don't turn the ball over, we win these one-score games. Let's dial it back some. So I would think that there's an element of Mario Cristobal also seeing a 4-turnover game and getting a little spooked
But
by it.
let me ask you guys the question of stubborn, please. When he says stubborn, and the counter to that is, no, this is our identity. It's who we are. You're being stubborn about that. No, it's who we are. It's who we're going to be. And it's who we are. Is that stubborn, or is it only stubborn after you've lost to Louisville?
I think everyone begins to question it after you finally lose, but I don't think they trust Carson Beck enough. I think they should put the ball in the game in his hands more than they do. Carson Beck, going into the Louisville game, Carson Beck was the Heisman Trophy front runner. He still could be. They're taking the ball out of his hands.
I'm with you. I think it was an overcorrection to them getting spooked by Louisville making tremendous plays, and you made a sizable NIL investment in this player. He has proven throughout his time, not just here but in Georgia, he can shake off some turnovers. That's part of the deal. When you've
said you're with Greg Cody. I'm not. He's thrown himself out of the Heisman conversation. He will not be invited to that ceremony.
No, he won't now.
It does not matter what he does the rest of the season. That 4-interception game in a loss that people were watching, he will not be invited to that room.
Yeah, that loss, though, was an anomaly. Louisville beat Miami with surprises, with gimmickry, with three quarterbacks on 1 or 2 plays on the field at the same time. You could visibly see on the sideline the Miami coaching staff did not know what had hit them. And I think that's an outlier, that game. And I don't agree that the season has been lost or ruined or whatever word
derailed. You said the word was the season will be derailed by that. It already has been derailed. Look, they're better than Louisville. And in that game, there wasn't that much proof of that. And it wasn't just gimmickry. They were beaten. They got 2 roughing the passer calls they did not deserve. They got a fumble at the end of that game they did not deserve. That game could have very easily been them blown out at home in the 4th quarter if Louisville had just held on to the football.
I don't think Miami's going to get blown out. or debacled because they're really good along the lines, and it's hard to blow out teams along the lines. There was a 4 turnover discrepancy between those teams, and Miami was not in position to get blown out. They were in position to tie the game at the very end. There's not many teams in America. That's how you know Miami's ceiling is very, very high, and that you have the situation. You have the trick plays that work. You have the gadgets. You have the quick release. You don't have Ruben Bain doing. By the way, Ruben Bain was the highest rated pass rusher yet again by Pro Football Focus, despite not getting a sack. He absolutely wrecked it for 48 snaps on Saturday. But this is the trouble with when you get into the playoffs, single elimination. You're going to run into a team that has answers for you, and I don't know if you display enough faith in your quarterback or enough faith in yourself to kind of set aside your identity a little bit and mix in some tendency breakers.
Debacled. I mean, your season has been derailed when you need help just to qualify for the ACC championship game.
But not the playoff.
If you win out, you're in the playoff.
Well, probably.
No,
Most
not
likely.
No,
most
not
likely.
Probably. If Miami wins out, they're in the playoffs.
You can't
100%.
say it definitively when we're talking
Yes,
about
I can.
people's opinions.
They're 100%.
The rankings are opinions. They're not standings.
They are 100% in the playoffs.
If Miami
they
wins out, they are in the playoffs.
I don't know how you could say that when it's people's opinions.
I don't know
who
how you
decide.
could even open the door to that. It's asinine. If they win out,
they don't
they're
control
in the
their own
CFP.
fate in the conference, is what he's saying.
They can get in the playoffs without being in the ACC title game.
The path to the playoffs is actually easier if they don't make it to the ACC championship game. Because if they lose that game, they'll hold it against them.
That's asinine. That's totally
the
asinine.
Truth.
Keith whistle. Yeah. That's the ref. They just look at Wayne.
Jay Leno and Noise Letterman with a sandwich for laughs.
So honestly, thrilled to be doing this with you because I have admired your work. You are just such a sculptor. You're an artist as a comedian. It's sort of the
Why, thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
the craft of it. It's such a hard way to make a living, Jay. I don't even understand how you make a living that way. I really don't. You have to be demented to choose, you know what? I'm going to laugh my way to the top. I'm going to take the expectation of funny, and that's how I'm going to get rich. Get out of here. It's crazy.
It seems sort of second nature to me. You know, I think it's one of those things is if it's what you like to do, it just comes. You know, I remember when I was in college, I'm dyslexic, so I would get out of any sort of written things, and I was taking speech therapy. And I remember the professor said, now at the end of the class, each student will have to give a 20-minute talk. And people went, 20 minutes? Oh my God, I get done. I thought, I'll do it right now. I'll talk for 20 minutes. Yeah, let's do this. You know, so it just struck me as funny.
But you could be funny in an instant? You knew that this was something...
No, not funny. I had to give a 20-minute talk. I mean, I didn't have routine. I wasn't a comedian yet, but it just seemed natural. I mean, I always read that getting eaten by a shark and public speaking are the two things most people are afraid of, you know, that kind of stuff.
But not you, right? Like that, you didn't need attention, right? An audience just didn't scare you, right? Even though you were dyslexic, even though...
No, it didn't scare me. It didn't scare. You know what's interesting? A lot of people don't realize, you remember the Smothers Brothers, right?
Yes.
Well, Tommy Smothers was dyslexic, and they were folk singers, but Tommy would get the songs wrong. Michael, boat the row ashore. No, it's row the what? And they made a part of their act, and that's kind of how they became a sort of funny comedy singing team, you know.
How do you watch stand-up comics? Because I imagine you are watching not just to laugh, but to see where the comic's insecure, where the comic looks off stage or looks at his feet. I imagine...
No, not really. I watch it just to enjoy it. I like comedy. I enjoy watching comedians. You have to be careful when you're a comedian because someone does a joke and then you realize you never want to be on stage and that subject comes up and your mind immediately goes to that person. So you have to be careful not to try and take somebody else's material. That's sort of the biggest trick. A lot of times you don't want to watch comedians do routine on a particular subject because if you're developing something along the same line, now you can't do yours because it's too close to theirs or whatever it might be. But no, I watch it. It's like I like to make love, but I don't want to be a gynecologist. You know what I mean? So I enjoy it just being, just being around it and being with comics. It's always fun.
You came up through the pipeline of where stand-up comedy was born, right? Like, I mean, you're almost at the roots, Jay. I mean, I don't know if it's Pryor and Carlin, but coming up through the LA comedy circuit, coming up through the comedians, when you were writing with David Letterman for J.J. Walker, right? Like coming up through the Comedy Store, can you take me through the path of what you imagined your career was going to be and how it is that you arrived? And I can't even imagine getting from there to the Tonight Show.
Well, I'm a huge believer in low self-esteem. I think it's the key to success. If you don't think you're the smartest person in the room, you're more likely to listen and pay attention. I mean, when I was doing the Tonight Show, I'd constantly meet people who were geniuses. People say, my client is a genius, but the people at the network were afraid he'd be too good. I get that all the time. Or I get comedians who audition for the Tonight Show, and they didn't quite have them. They were close, and their agent would say, you're scared because if my client kills, he could take your job. No, I want your client to do well. It's just that, talking about Reagan's trip to Pittsburgh 30 years later, it's not really timely anymore, okay? Can you try to update the material? And then people get furious. So there's all sorts of reasons why. But I think the key is I was always happy at whatever level I was at. I mean, I used to have a day job and then be a comedian at night, and I would bank one and spend the other. And then when the comedian money got to be pretty good, I quit the other job. And I thought, I'm making a living as a comedian, because it's probably a sad reflection on our society, but the worst comedian in the world still makes more than the best teacher, which seems hardly fair, but that's just the way it is. And so I always was able to make a living, and it was okay. Each year got a little better than the year before, and that was okay. It's so funny. Whenever I watch these shows about, there's a couple of them on Netflix and
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Start of the day, start of the day. This year, start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. This year, start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. This year, start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. This year, start of the day.
Stat of the Day is presented by Amazon Prime Video. Thursday Night Football is on. The Baltimore Ravens take on the Miami Dolphins. Coverage begins Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern, only on Prime Video.
The Giants and Jets are a combined 3-13. That is not the stat of the day. The top two passers in the NFL in net yards per pass attempt are Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold. So their former quarterbacks get out of those organizations, and all of a sudden, explosive plays aplenty.
Weren't they both on the Vikings last year?
They were both good. Well, one of them was very good on the Vikings last year, and I thought Daniel Jones was going to be good for the Vikings if he had stayed there. I thought Daniel Jones was going to look a little bit like this if he had stayed there, because I think Justin Jefferson and their skill guys are that good, but he just took it with him to Indianapolis.
What's happening in Minnesota is really interesting, and I'd love to ask Diana Rossini a question about what's going to happen there, because Carson Wentz, it seems like his agent was talking to some reporters yesterday, a little pissed off about what happened to him as he's out there sacrificing his body, getting more and more hurt as the Vikings take an extra cautious approach with J.J. McCarthy, a quarterback that we still have mixed feelings about. What's going on in Minnesota? Are they going to try to get another quarterback?
And hi, guys. Hi, Mike. Yeah, good question because it's been hanging over this Vikings organization for weeks, right? We saw that one quarter where JJ McCarthy was really good, and we haven't seen it since. And then obviously he's been battling injury. Carson Wentz comes in here and look, I know the Vikings organization's taking a lot of heat the last 24 hours, and we saw Carson in the game just getting beat up. And I think the theory out there, and Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, I think people think that was Kevin O'Connell keeping Carson out there to protect JJ McCarthy or to just have him take the hit so he can protect the other quarterbacks on the bench. Look, that is not the case from what I understand. This was Carson wanting to be out there, trying to toughen through the pain, which credit to him for being as brave as he is. But unfortunately now his season's done because of the labrum that was torn, and now he's got to get season-ending surgery. He's on IR. So now what? Look, I feel like we could probably do a whole show about what happened in Minnesota this year. And I know we've talked about it on the show before. In the offseason when they had that option, do you stick with Sam Darnold? Do you sign Daniel Jones? Do you go get Aaron Rodgers, right? If you think about it, if we could get a time machine and go back, it's not like they made one decision. They made three, right? They didn't do any of those because they believed that JJ McCarthy was the guy. They used the money that they would have spent on bringing those quarterbacks to extend other players on their team to continue to build in hopes that JJ McCarthy. And look, we still don't know. I think it's unfair for us to sit here right now, headed into week 9, and say JJ McCarthy's a bust. That is not what they believe in that organization.
He's played one good quarter of football for them.
It's just one. That's it, right? But we've seen this before. We're talking about Daniel Jones. How many bad games have we seen in our lives of Daniel Jones? A lot. And look at him now. So I just think with a little bit of patience, some coaching here, it can improve. Okay, so let's put that to the side, right? We'll call it our hope jar that this works itself out. But when you reflect back when they had to make this call, they obviously did not know that this would be the case. I don't think they thought Sam Darnold would leave Minnesota and actually be better in this offense, right? And he's using all the tutelage and everything he learned with Kevin O'Connell and just applying it in Seattle.
Who did? Did Seattle believe that he'd be better than he was in Minnesota? I thought the Minnesota Sam Darnold is the best Sam Darnold any of us would ever see.
Same. I think most did. I think Seattle assumed he would be good. I don't think that they thought it would be like this. And if they did, John Schneider, the general manager there, had this ability to see this. Credit to him. But I remember covering this during free agency. And I remember talking to all the different parties, all the different teams. And it wasn't like they were knocking down the door of Sam Darnold like, you're the guy, we believe in you. They had confidence in him. And Minnesota really, they were ready to move on from Sam. There were guys in that building that really wanted to bring Sam back. But when it came down to it, it was Kevin O'Connell's decision. And in his mind, he could win with JJ McCarthy.
You don't draft JJ McCarthy that higher than most other teams would have taken him unless you were ready to move on from Sam Darnold.
Correct. And you have the Daniel Jones situation. Now, just to remind you guys, the situation there was they went to Daniel Jones and said, look, we want you back. And his camp said, okay, but he's the starter. And they're like, no, you're not the starter. We'll let you come out and compete, but you're not the starter. And so Daniel Jones's camp was like, well, we're going to go to Indy because we know we'll start. Like, we know the situation there. Anthony Richardson is not going to beat out Daniel Jones. That's how confident they felt that Daniel Jones could win it. He knew he could be the starter, so he went. Right? So now that's 2 ifs. And I say whiff because now we have the intel. I did not think Daniel Jones would be this good. I did not know that they would look like the Philadelphia Eagles this year. Right? Then you've got the Aaron Rodgers scenario, where Aaron Rodgers is available. He's putting out all those smoke signals of, hey, I want to play for you. And there was considerable conversations in Minnesota about signing Aaron Rodgers. This was not just Rodgers calling Kevin going, I want to play for you. They talked about it and they were weighing it heavily. And they made the decision as a group that they don't want to go in that direction, that they want to go all in on JJ McCarthy. And so now they're living with that. And it's just going to take some time. And I think if ownership is comfortable with really, they have to be patient here, they're okay. But it's hard not to let your mind go to places where you think this team is built to win. If they just had good quarterback play, I think they'd be one of the top NFC teams we're talking about right now.
So the Vikings are putting off vibes like they don't quite trust J.J. McCarthy.
What happened to your mask?
Like something's wrong with him. It was a
Looks
temporary.
older.
It was a temporary.
Wait, Greg, what do you mean? What do you mean they're putting outside? Like,
Okay.
You think they look hesitant?
Yes, I mean, Wentz's own people are implying that J.J. McCarthy's been ready, and they're just withholding putting him out there because they're worried about getting him beat up or something. Are there doubts about J.J. McCarthy? Because it seems like that's what I'm getting from the Vikings and the way they're handling this.
And what do you make of what Wentz's agent did yesterday? Because that's not the most common thing in the world. He's not helping matters in Minnesota. He's obviously mad that his client, was a torso, gave the entirety of his body. Carson Wentz has been crushed the last 3 weeks physically. Like, he's just getting totally beat up.
Greg, I feel like you're asking me, is this a soft benching of J.J. McCarthy?
Yes.
I do not believe so. I don't think they're benching J.J. McCarthy. I think this was a high ankle sprain that I was told early, and I know there's been a lot of reporting. I've consistently said it. It was 4 to 6 weeks. And he had to go through a few more hurdles to get cleared. They want a full week of practice. We're here now, right? Like he's expected to start this week. I don't think they were trying to shove JJ in the back to hide him because they went, oh my God, this kid is a nightmare. He stinks. I don't think that's the case. I think they still believe in him. I just don't think they're holding him in the same regard that we saw at camp. Remember I talked to you guys, I went to training camp and I saw him. He was fantastic. He was so good. He has it. I just think there's some battles that they're having in building his confidence back up and dealing with the injury. So it's a combination of a lot of different things.
You saw what Diana did there, Zaz. I know you appreciated that.
Diana,
what did I do? What did I do?
No, you were fine.
You were great.
You were very, very good, Diana. Real pro. What do you make of Dan coming over the top of Greg's question? Getting in his own.
That's his
Making
move.
his own
Yeah.
question.
What do you make of that?
Well,
I
I wanted to add that Carson Wentz's agent, I wanted to get
He's doing
her,
it again. Don't let him do it again.
Right.
He's doing it again.
You know what Dan does? I do it to my mom when we're like at a restaurant or store where I think she's either not talking fast enough or I think that the person we're talking to doesn't understand.
Yep.
And I talk for her. And she'll look at me and go, I can talk. I don't need you to talk for me.
Yes.
Right? So, Greg, I needed to see that because now I understand why she gets annoyed at me because it's rude. It's a little
rude.
Condescending.
Yeah, very
and
condescending.
There's a little bit of ageism there.
Yeah.
And obviously the pace you're moving at is not fast enough for Dan. But
Exactly.
Greg, just so you know, I knew what you were asking. I didn't need Dan to add the agent part.
Thank you,
I was getting there.
But to Dan's credit, at least he doesn't say to you, what Greg is trying to say is, at least he's more subtle than that.
I
So we
just wanted
appreciate
to add the agent information because Carson Wentz's agent has done something that is unusual.
I
So
gotta tell you.
I wasn't actually speaking for Greg. I was actually adding information for the audience.
Dan, one of the biggest fights I ever got in with my mom was in a parking lot outside of a restaurant because I did that. And she didn't say a word to me, okay? And that week I had gone through a horrible breakup and I was devastated. And this lunch that we went to was to just talk it out and she was being a good mom. So after I do the thing that you just did, where I'm like talking to the waitress, I'm like, this is what she wants, We get in the parking lot. Again, she hasn't said a word, which is like unheard of. We're about to get in the car and she looks across the car and goes, by the way, this is why he left you.
Oh, no.
I gotta go. My sister and sister-in-law were with me. They still, this was 12 years ago. To this day, they're like, that, without a doubt, was the harshest we've ever seen your mom. And I'd get double fingered her. I was done with you. I hate you, the whole thing. But she was right though. That's why he laughed at me, because I never shut up. But yeah, she went for the dagger. So don't do that. You can't play.
Don't do that. Play that dirty. Don't do that, Dan.
There you go. Lesson
Don't
learned.
play dirty.
Don't try and add agent information for the audience. I was not speaking for Greg Cody.
It was
It
redundant.
sounded like it.
We
So,
covered that
well,
episode.
you guys are good at like theorizing these things. What do you think Carson's agent was trying to put out yesterday? Because they did not contact me.
He thinks the Vikings wrecked his client's body. And so he's pissed. That's what I
mean,
thought.
there was a certain tone attached to Ian Rappaport weighing in on the situation that made you feel like something was coming from Carson Wentz camp that was pretty negative, and understandably so. I mean, I've never seen Carson Wentz display the kind of emotion that he's displayed trying to tough it out through that injury.
Yeah, and it's funny, you're right, because I am seeing the other side to it, where kind of what I'm explaining, which is, having conversations with people there of like, this was the process for us, right? This is what we were doing. We're not purposely just putting him out there to die. And I say that dramatically, not to be funny at all. So look, at the end of the day, Carson's not here. He's not with the Vikings. He's on IR. What are they going to do? Because if look at the situation. If JJ McCarthy comes back and he looks the way he did the last time we saw him, this is going to be a really long season for them and a rough one. And he's going to get hurt again because he's not ready, based on what we saw that last time. If he can play like we saw him against the Bears in that fourth quarter where he was, throwing miracle balls, then they'll be in good shape. I just don't know where JJ McCarthy is at right now.
Diana, I know this is super interesting, but let's briefly put a bow on this. They're obviously invested in JJ McCarthy, but do they get an insurance policy? It's not like I know Kirk Cousins rumors are always going to be out there. It's not like he did anything to improve his trade value.
No, I don't. I think the Kirk Cousins story, I have a hard time believing that'll happen. I think they were toying with it a little bit at one point. I know Kirk wanted to go back there. I don't think that's going to be a reality, though. And you're right, like just the way Kirk doesn't look great right now. So no, I don't have any intel right now of them taking some big swing to get a quarterback or some super. And here's the problem too, Mike. Look around the league. Anyone that has a good backup, like, for example, the Houston Texans, like teams call them all the time about Davis Mills. They're like, no way, you can't touch him. Like, you want that insurance policy. So it's really hard for Minnesota to go find someone now because everyone's locked in to who their guys are. And every other team has problems with their backup quarterbacks. Look at San Francisco, right? They're lucky they've had Mac Jones.
Diana, you reported on Saturday morning, I think it was, that Steve Sarkisian has put out feelers to the NFL and I think specifically the Tennessee job. His agents came out and strongly denied it. He did as well. Why would they do that? Like, isn't that a good thing if there are rumors out there about him wanting to go to the NFL?
No, it's horrible. When you're the head coach of Texas and you've got recruits visiting and it's game day and you got NIL and just all the weird landscape of college now that goes with this. Like, you're right. Like, years ago, who cares? Who cares? Steve Sarkisian wants to be an NFL coach. Not breaking news, right? Most college coaches want to coach in the NFL. But in 2025, there are just so many different factors and so many, with the portal, players wanting to maybe leave if they don't trust that their coach is going to be there. There's a lot of layers and they have every right to be mad. Unfortunately, they never added that Steve Sarkisian wants to stay at Texas, right? They just said, this is not true. We did not talk to any NFL teams. And Jimmy Sexton and Steve Sarkisian, just to be clear, that the reporting I did not come from them. Like, Steve didn't call me on Saturday morning and be like, hey, like, report this. So I think, does Steve Sarkisian have thoughts about coaching the NFL? Absolutely. We'll just see how this goes the rest of the year. I think it's totally fair and understanding to say that Steve Sarkisian is always going to keep his options open. He should. It would be smart business for Steve to always have options outside of Texas.
Chris, we're going to speed her up here to get more football information because we spent way too much time on the Vikings. Also, Jeremy is enraged, okay? During the break, while Greg Cody was in the other room and saying that Meadowlark Media does nothing better than bacon, okay, because he was over there just eating bacon with his bare hands, as Frankenstein, Jeremy was screaming at everybody, we didn't spend enough time on baseball. We haven't spent enough time on baseball. Why were you talking about the UM offensive coordinator? I want to do baseball. That's the greatest baseball game ever played, and we continue to just do football with Diana. So go ahead and speed Diana up here and take a guess, guys. Take a guess. We'll get to Jeremy in a second. He's got a whiteboard, a lot of things that he wants to talk about. You want to take a guess at who the third best point differential in the NFL is. At the top, you've got the Colts by a good margin. Second is the Chiefs. For all the hand-wringing that I did, the Chiefs are second. Do you want to guess who's third? Anybody want to guess who's third?
Chargers.
Incorrect. Anybody want to guess who's
Bills.
third? Incorrect. Anybody?
The Patriots.
That is correct. The Patriots is correct. I would have guessed the Lions. Can you explain to me what it is other than Drake May that the Patriots are doing?
Josh McDaniels was the best hire that Mike Vrabel could have made. And when he made it, most people said boring, worn out, exhausting, predictable, not outside the box, not creative. The game has changed. He's failed multiple times. And yet when you talk to people in New England, the relationship that Drake May has with Josh McDaniels and the connection that they have has a little bit of a Brady feel.
Wow. Diana, if you could talk a little bit about, real quick, Josh McDaniels' offseason, because there was a lot of league chatter that said he was just in the lab reshaping his entire approach to offense, breaking himself of some old habits.
Yeah, I mean, he was visiting a lot of different places and trying to learn. You see this a lot, like the self-reflection. Dan Quinn talked about it after he was fired as well, of just, what am I not doing right? Where am I having a disconnect with the team, with the organization, with ownership as a leader? And I think that Josh McDaniels is just comfortable. Josh McDaniels is comfortable in New England with that ownership group. I think him and Mike Vrabel speak the same language. They never had, from what I understand, some close friendship that they brought, that he brought McDaniels in because it makes, this is my guy. It's just, we know this world. We know how to operate here. We know this fan base. We know this division. And I just think that when you're comfortable, you can be at your best.
Diana, can Jonathan Taylor win MVP considering Saquon Barkley couldn't win it last year?
That was going to be my reason no, right? And I think there is good quarterback play right now that it's going to make it hard. And you're right. Like if Saquon Barkley can't win it after what he did rushing for 2,000 yards and just absolutely being the most important person on that team, I think it's hard to make that argument for Jonathan Taylor. But I will say, last year, before I made my vote for that, I called a bunch of players I love picking their brains. Like, who do you think? And I will say Saquon I got more answers that Saquon should be it than anything else. But I did not vote for Saquon. Sorry, Saquon.
Baltimore gets its magic wand back this week. Does Lamar Jackson lead 2-5 Ravens into the playoffs?
Yes. I think
Whoa.
I don't doubt Lamar Jackson. I think with him coming back, it's going to give this team the surge it needs. The defense made some good corrections. I still don't think they're great, but improved. And I think Lamar Jackson, he's the straw that stirs the drink. You bring him out there, and they're unstoppable.
What do you make of this tweet from Nick Wright? The current state of NFL insider reporting. The fans don't get to know that Carson Wentz suffered major injury nearly a month ago while he's still playing, but once he's shut down for the season, we're allowed to know all the gritty, tough details. Shout out to the agents.
I think everyone wants more information and everybody wants the truth. And we're in an age right now where there is so much chatter and so many bad, Twitter handles and aggregators and misinformation that I think that's more Nick pushing back on, like, I don't want transaction. I don't want agent-handed intel. I want information that no one else has that's going to give me a little bit more insight into what's happening, not just packaged reporting.
What's
and
real?
I get it.
What's real on A.J. Brown and the Eagles and a smaller role? I get why A.J. Brown would be saying, yeah, we're winning, but we'd win more and better if you threw me the ball more.
Philly's not going to like you today. Look, using me, not using me, right? Like that, you basically just described how he feels. And I think the offense that we saw against the New York Giants this past weekend is what Philly wants to do. Now add A.J. Brown to it, and this thing could be electric. Unfortunately, I don't think A.J. Brown believes that he's going to be used in a way that he wants to, which is throughout the entire game. So you have an unhappy superstar receiver who, unless he's going to get fed the way he wants to, is never going to be happy. And sometimes with these wide receivers, I don't know what the recipe is to make them happy. He had 2 touchdowns and 120 yards against the Vikings, and he was miserable. I think I talked to Philadelphia Eagles owner Jeffrey Lurie about this. What would you do if A.J. Brown knocked on your door and was like, get me out of here? I'm not happy. And he's like, look, we'll do what's best for the Philadelphia Eagles. And after having more conversations with Philly over the weekend, unless it's a blockbuster deal, they're not going to move them. But a lot of that changes if they're aware that their receiver's so miserable, because we've seen before how this stuff plays out.
Faster.
Is Caleb Williams going to be the third best QB in his draft class?
He could be. I mean, right? We're still figuring out J.J. McCarthy here. It's obviously Drake May. It's Jaden. Caleb is easily in there. Bo Nix is touched. Appears to be improving. I think that's fair.
What do you make of Woody Johnson doing everything he did to Justin Fields?
Unaware. Sad. Bad leadership.
Any Halloween plans?
Yes. Do you guys know what getting booed is?
Getting
like
booed?
To be booed during Halloween season?
Booed at home?
Yeah.
No.
It's horrible.
What is it?
Okay. So at nighttime in October, people come up and ding dong ditch. So they ring your doorbell and they leave gifts for your kids on the porch and then they run away. And I don't understand this. I think it's dumb. It wakes my kids up, but it's every day. So I don't know what to do.
Why is that booed? They're leaving you a gift. It's not like it's not a bag.
It's like booed, like it was a ghost that left you a present.
Oh.
I want to change it to boozed and just have people leave me bottles of wine or something, because it's just I don't get, like, we're gonna have a whole day of candy, right? Like, we're gonna do a whole day of going to all the different streets and houses and bother everyone. I don't understand, because here's what it is. I'll tell you the truth. I feel guilty. Do I have to go boo people now? Do I have to go do packages of candy and drive around my neighborhood?
If you got booed, you should boo back.
I want to change it, though. I feel like we got to do something different.
Be the change you want.
Yes.
Are you wearing a costume this year? Are you going to go around the neighborhood with the kids? How do you do it?
Yeah, I don't do the costume. But I'm going to be there and just hang out and support and try to get them to go to the houses that have the good candy.
She's the NFL insider, senior NFL insider for The Athletic, and the host of the Scoop City podcast. Nice seeing you, Diana. Always nice seeing you. Jeremy has been very patient. He is enraged. He's been working on a whiteboard for the last 30 minutes. He's been insisting that we go to him while we've been talking about the Minnesota Vikings. What are they? The 3-win Minnesota Vikings. 10 minutes on the 3-win Minnesota Vikings instead of talking about the greatest baseball game ever played. Jeremy will be doing a live stream with Chris Cody and others off of Game 5 of the World Series presented by DraftKings. There's a furious. What are you running your hand against your neck for, Jeremy? Why are you telling me not to come to you, or you're not doing the live stream? What are you doing?
No, I was telling our video team that I need to have this light right here because Mike Ryan has scared every single other person in this room about the shade of green on my face.
You're bringing it up.
And so I was making sure that Mike Fuentes was in this shot with the light as close as humanly possible.
I think it makes it worse,
But
honestly.
yes, we do have a live stream coming up for Game 5. That's tomorrow night. It's going to be really great, and if the game goes 18 innings, we'll be with you until 3 in the morning.
That would have been great if you guys had been doing the live stream last night. What is your whiteboard? What are you trying to show us? Did Shohei Ohtani reach base 9 times last night?
Yes. Shohei Ohtani reached base 9 times. He's the first person to do that.
Is that good?
Period. I have a bunch of stats here. This is a Venn diagram, sort of, in which we could see Shohei Ohtani in the middle and all of these people who he shares statistics with. So Shohei Ohtani joins Babe Ruth as the only players in baseball history with multiple pitching starts, more than 2 home runs in his postseason career. Yeah, how about Corey Seager here? 8 home runs for 1 Dodgers postseason. He won World Series MVP. He got 3+ multi-homer games in postseason history in one postseason.
I'm going to need you to slow down, okay? People don't love math with their audio experience, to just slow down and do it at a pace where people can absorb what you're saying. So Ohtani has how many home runs now this postseason? Most by a Dodger ever?
He has 8 home runs this postseason. It ties Corey Seager for the most in one Dodgers postseason.
This also includes a 1-for-17 stretch in the middle of this.
That's right. That's maybe the craziest part. And it includes a stretch here over the last couple of games where he has 12 total bases in one game, 12 total bases in the next game. Those are his last 2 at Dodger Stadium. There's not another major league player in the modern era that's had a dozen total bases in 2 consecutive home games ever, regular season or postseason history. It's insane. 4 extra base hits in 1 postseason game. Frank Isbell, 1906.
I don't know that fool.
Bases empty, intentional walks in the World Series. Ohtani joins only Albert Pujols. 6 homers in 4 games in 1 postseason. Ohtani joins Mr. October, Reggie Jackson. 12+ total bases at a World Series game. He joins Pablo Sandoval, Albert Pujols, Reggie Jackson, Babe Ruth. 8+ intentional walks in 1 postseason. Ohtani joins Barry Bonds and Albert Pujols. 3+ intentional walks in 1 World Series games. It's Bonds, it's Pujols, it's Big Papi, it's Rudy York. And then here's the big one.
Rudy York.
Including pitching, because remember, Ohtani starts tonight. Right-handed pitchers with 6 innings pitched, 2 hits or fewer, 10 strikeouts in an NLCS.
TMI.
Max Scherzer, Josh Beckett, and Shohei Ohtani. It's unbelievable. It's not only the greatest game ever played in 1 World Series game.
And in closing.
Totally. Sorry, I've been hearing Chris talking to the production crew in my ear the entire time. It's the single greatest athlete in the history of sports.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. What the hell is Rudy York doing in there?
Who's Rudy York?
And please look up for me whatever information you have of when Rudy York played. What is the year that Rudy York played? This is a person that does not belong in this group of people that you have just assembled. Your board was filled. The Sandoval, maybe. But Rudy York, I don't think belongs in that list of greats.
Demeans the board.
But find me some information, please, on Rudy York so that I can answer Greg Cody's questions on why it is that Rudy York is in there. When did Rudy York play? What is Rudy York's history?
All right, he played for 13 seasons between 1934. Skipped a couple of years. Started again in 1937 to 1948.
Why did he skip a couple of years?
I guess he got sent back down. I don't know.
Lack of interest.
There were war or something.
There were wars. There was a Ted Williams. The middle of his career, he was a fighter pilot.
League of Their Own?
That doesn't happen that often anymore. I wanted to ask you guys something that happened during the football game last night. There was a play that Zach Ertz, to me, on 4th down, absolutely converted a 4th down with a catch. And I am always amazed that I do think that for all the complaints that we have everywhere in sport around officiating, I think the NFL does a fairly great job at spotting the football. Generally speaking, there are mistakes made, but the spotting of the football is difficult, and I think they do it well. But last night, they went to technology that is new now for a 1st down. And it seemed to me obvious visually, on slow motion and otherwise, that Zach Ertz had gotten the 1st down. But when they went to their new technology on measurement that is not unlike tennis's, They gave the ball to Kansas City and said it was 5 inches short. And it seemed to me like the technology got it wrong. To my eye, it seemed like Zach Ertz got the first down, and it was clear that he got the first down. What do you do with that? Are my eyes lying to me? Are you believing that the technology right now is so good and so advanced, even though it's the first year of the technology, and they've done this pretty well with those chains over the years? I thought they got it wrong last night with the technology.
So I didn't see the play you're talking about. I'm flipping back and forth with the baseball, but are you talking about your eyes saw him like the yellow line, or you're actually able to see where the stick was?
I was watching all of it, okay? I was watching where the stick was. I was watching where his knee was. I was watching slow motion. I was watching where it is that he was putting the ball on forward progress. And I thought it was obvious that he got, not by much, but I didn't think there was any circumstance under which that was going to be ruled short. I thought it was obvious to everyone on the field that he had gotten it. It wasn't like a whole lot of Kansas City players were sitting there saying it was the other direction, but they went to that, what is that tennis technology where it's like, you trust the technology here?
Love that technology.
Oh, eagle eye.
I love the tennis.
Following the ball.
But how do they know with this new technology they're using with the football? Because, okay, they could tell where the football is, but how do they know where, like, the knee was down?
They're doing virtual, they call it a virtual measurement, okay? And I have not seen this happen before. Because in tennis, I trust that thing completely.
Well, the only thing you need to know in tennis is the ball.
Correct. But this wasn't even a problem of the knee or anything else. And I guess from the look on your guys' faces, you did not have the experience with this that I did, which I thought it was simply obvious that not by much, but that Zach Ertz had indeed gotten that first down. In fact, I didn't think they were going to even have to measure it with chains if they still did it that way.
I remember the play, and it was too close to call, but I think it does a disservice to sports, any sport, when you're going back and forth through human judgment and technology. Pick one or the other. Either trust what the linesman says, trust what the chain gang says, or go completely to technology. I think it's bad when you have the call on the field and then you overturn it or justify it with technology. One or the other. Humans or technology, not both.
I'm looking at the still shot right now. It looks like a first down.
You know, Zach Ertz is one of the greatest tight ends in NFL history.
That can't be true.
He's a top 10 tight end in NFL history.
Yeah, pretty good.
Last night, he became just the 6th tight end to eclipse 800 career receptions. That list is Tony Gonzalez, Jason Witten, Travis Kelce, Antonio Gates, and Shannon Sharp. It's pretty amazing because Zach Ertz it felt like Zach Ertz's career was written off like 4 seasons ago.
Jay Novacek would like a word.
He can have his word and then get behind Zach Ertz in line.
Well, this is where I will simply object to what it is that you're framing there, even though statistically and empirically it can't be argued the numbers that you're talking about. But just like I will not accept that the 50-point basketball game is the same specifically because Austin Reeves and Lauri Markkanen have done it in back-to-back nights, I don't believe that the tight ends of the past have been eclipsed by Zach Ertz because you say so numerically.
Dallas Clark would like a word.
Dallas Clark?
Heath Miller would like a word.
He can get behind Dallas Clark.
The immortal Mark Andrews would like a word.
John Mackey.
No,
Greg Olson would like a word.
Keith Jackson.
It is a different era. But it's also a difficult position to have that kind of longevity at.
Keith Jackson was awesome.
Because
Mike Ditka would like a word.
Shohei Ohtani would be better.
You're seeing what's happening to Travis Kelce at his age. That's usually how it goes for these boxing
Darrell
types.
Edmonds. Whew.
Travis Kelce actually had a great game in terms of yak. Like, that's not something he's really doing.
In terms of everything. Wasn't he their leading receiver last night?
Yeah, it's just, I guess the eye test. I'm sure someone can run it empirically, but like he's fallen down a hell of a lot as soon as he catches these balls. He looks older as he's supposed to. Zach Ertz looks great. Like, he looks better now than he looked 5 years ago. It's a difficult position to have longevity in because you're carrying so much weight around and you're doing so much blocking at the line of scrimmage. I don't think Zach Ertz is one of the 10 best tight ends in NFL history, even though you can make an argument for it. I don't think he's better than George Kittle. But it's crazy that he's had this kind of career resurgence.
Dave Casper would like a word.
I object, okay. to the distortion of the numbers in today's game the moment Lauri Markkanen becomes the first 50-point scorer in Utah history since Karl Malone. That is where you have made the 50-point game irrelevant. I thought perhaps I was headed there yesterday with Austin Reeves getting the 50-point game, but it was solidified for me. It was solidified for me last
Are we doing
night.
our MVP of the day?
Oh,
I have imaging.
Okay. Yup.
MVP of the day.
Dan, I got a new. There's a new front runner, for league MVP right now, and his name is Tyrese Maxey.
Oh,
That's right. First of all, the Sixers, if you know, are 3-0. Embiid didn't play. He sucks. They're better without Embiid. He's a terrible player. And Tyrese Maxey, 43 points last night. Maxey so far this season, 3 games, is averaging 34 points, 7.5 assists a game. His team is undefeated. Tyrese Maxey has entered the MVP conversation.
Shohei Ohtani's the first player with 3 multi-homer games in a single postseason. He starts on the mound tonight.
MVP of the day.
Everybody hates one another. And that wasn't the case at all. I mean, I got where I was thanks to Steve Martin and Johnny Carson and Harvey Korman. And consequently, when I got a little success, I brought Johnny Carson in to see Ellen DeGeneres and some other comedians as well. And you can't do every job every day. So I've always found comedians to be extremely supportive. You know, whenever one of us, by one of us, I mean Letterman or me or Seinfeld or even Robin Williams, if you watch my first Tonight Show from 1977, you hear this in the back laughing in the audience. It's Robin. Robin was sitting in the audience, kind of helping me out and giving me a little encouragement, you know. And consequently, when those guys did the Tonight Shows, we all went and would laugh it up for them, whether it's Merv Griffin or, you know, Mike Douglas or any of those shows. So it's actually quite a nice way to make a living. I mean, yes, there are horrible people in it, I suppose, but I didn't run into too many of them. I met far more nice people than bad people.
What do you regard as the happiest time in your professional life? Because I remember, I don't know how many times you appeared on Letterman. I remember a stand-up act specifically that for some reason, I don't know whether it was discovering you, I guess, but you were on stage and you did something about Mr. Universe and you held your fingers under your chin and you made, some other interplanetary weightlifter was furious because, we had decided that
I should have won. I something about how did Venus win? I should have won. You know, it was how they have Mr. Universe. If there's the happiest time. Yesterday was pretty good, but the happiest time was probably when I was doing Letterman show every month. About every 4 weeks, I do a Letterman show, and it was the first time that I got to be on with a contemporary, because like with Johnny Carson, like when I see him, oh, hi, Mr. Carson, call me Johnny. Well, when you grow up in New England, you grow up, you don't call parents by their first name. Jay, these are my parents, Bob and Agnes. Oh, hi, Bob. No, hi, Mr. and Mrs. Minicelli. How are you? Nice to meet you. So to me, it was always weird doing Merv Griffin or Mike Douglas or any of those shows, because I was talking to an adult and I was essentially a kid. And then finally, when Letterman got a show, I could want to go, hey, Dave, nice tie, Dave. what a dump this studio is, and just trash, which you couldn't do with Johnny just out of respect or out of deference, So that was the most fun to me, and you really got a chance to be yourself. The fun thing about doing Letterman in those early days was making Letterman laugh on the way to the joke as opposed to the joke. Letterman was a guy who always got nervous before he went on stage. I didn't get nervous. So one day I was eating a sandwich and Letterman stops me and he goes, how can you eat that sandwich? You're on in 5 minutes. Get rid of that stupid sandwich. I said, oh, no. This is going to be great. So I went down, I got another meatball sandwich. It's an enormous, and I walked out and said, Dave, try this. And I put the sandwich on his desk, and of course the meatballs getting all over everything. And Dave was just, acting flustered. And I said, Dave, try this meatball. I'm not eating that disgusting meatball. And we had so much fun because it was all ad-lib. And it was happening in the moment. So if I had to pick the most exciting part of my career, that was probably it. That whole 3-year, 4-year period of just constantly doing Letterman all the time and going on, writing material literally the day before and then going on and doing it. So yeah, that would certainly be it.
I don't know if you've examined this because I regard you as someone who generally comes from a happier place with comedy, or a better relationship with comedy, where Letterman seemed it was colder, or that he would be a little miserable, or some of the negative feelings. He wasn't quite as comfortable ever, and it was part of his charm and funny. But you had a unique access to such a time in late night television where these cathedrals exist, and you elevated yourself into a place where you're telling me now as we talk that the Tonight Show and doing it, even though it was the greatest of ambitions, was somehow less fun than a time in television where you and Letterman could just screw around and not worry about anything.
Well, yeah, you kind of answer your own question. I mean, it's true where you can just be yourself and screw around. It's funny because when you start out in comedy, you go to the comedy club and you have your act down in your head and how you're going to do it, And then afterwards, all the comedians would go out to eat to one of the popular Cantors or a deli or something, and you'd get the big table, you'd order food. Then you all sit around, you talk about the act and what was funny, what worked. And, people would help you, you'd help them. But then something kind of interesting would happen. You'd find you had even funnier stories just riffing with the guys. And you realize, hey, I'm getting laughs here, but there's no punchline. There's no real ending to it. There's no beginning. It's just a funny story. And that's what was something I was able to bring the Letterman show because
And on today's Alley-Oop, Tristan gets kicked out of the podcast studio. We make a nasty joke about Dylan, as we do every week. And Victor Wembanyama might be the greatest player in NBA history 3 games into the NBA season. There it is. Bye-bye.
What she said.
How many times have you shaved LSU into the side of your dog?
For 24 seasons.
Like, how did you get the inspiration for this?
It was during 9/11.
Oh. Dan, we are here at the Mecca of college football, Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
It's unbelievable, unfathomable. Nothing you will ever see in college football compares to LSU Tiger Day.
We came here to ask fans the tough, serious questions, like what's parking like on campus?
Yeah, the parking has been really bad this semester.
The parking's been bad.
Yeah, no, they took away the engineering parking.
What?
Yeah, no.
What are you wearing? What's the fit today?
LSU overalls.
Overall bros.
Back whenever my bro fit in them as well, it was LSU overall bros.
Like the sisterhood of the traveling pants.
I'm class of 25. I'm a dead zip with formerly in the court, but on my left leg, I got our hit lift. We're currently undefeated, so lots of kills. And obviously beat the hell out of TU. There's no other answer.
How's it been seeing Texas struggle this year? It's been a little funny, right?
Number one preseason to unranked in record time was satisfying.
They're adding a parking garage, hopefully.
Okay, so we have a positive.
They haven't said that they're going to do it, but we're hoping they're going to do that.
Have you met any A&M fans?
No, don't want to today.
They're weird, right?
Yeah, very weird.
A little culty.
Yeah, very culty.
I don't know if I should be scared of them. I just try to stay away, honestly.
Yeah, they'll whoop. They'll whoop at you. Whoop, whoop.
They put people in outside apartments and was like, yeah, it's okay. And so the parents were complaining.
As they should.
Right? And they were like, yo, this is filled with rats and roaches.
No.
That's what the parents were saying.
I saw a TikTok about this.
We're here for our buddy's bachelor party, staying in New Orleans. We got in on Thursday night, did all the Bourbon Street, everything, took the bus down here. Now we're ready to go.
Bachelor party in Baton Rouge is kind of sick.
Yeah.
Like, that's sort of the dream.
Yeah, pretty awesome.
So do you guys walk around and people just stop you, take pictures?
Yes.
Are you guys like celebrities here?
The dogs are.
The dogs are celebrities. Well, obviously, A&M, more traditions than any other school, times like 1,000.
Yep.
What is your personal favorite?
First Tuesday of the month, silver taps on Academic Plaza, and we honor any students who passed away. And then going out and supporting is a big part of who we are as Aggies and that Aggie family.
Damn, that was beautiful. I thought you were going to say the thumbs up. I thought you were going to say whoop.
Yeah, dig 'em, but yeah, obviously.
Dig 'em, whoop.
Now they took away our parking from the PFT and the business college because they're like, oh yeah, we're going to build a dorm here because we need dorm room for people because we put them in the apartments.
Yeah. Do you have anywhere to park?
No, of course not. What do you think this is?
What has your experience been so far?
We literally just parked like 2 minutes ago.
Do you think Brian Kelly should get fired?
If they lose today, maybe, but they're not going to lose today because it's always been the Tigers money line, plus 112.
Oh, yeah, I like Brian Kelly.
Yeah, I think Brian Kelly's a good coach. I think the pieces under him need to change.
Even if we walk out of here with a victory, LSU fans should be able to thank us for getting rid of Brian Kelly.
Fire his ass!
They're coming for Brian Kelly.
Look at last week. Pavia had a whole 5 minutes back there by himself. He could have put on a lawn chair and sat down and drank a fucking pina colada.
Bring back Coach O. You know, it's okay if he's who has it?
Brian Kelly's a bum. He was, last season or his first season. We got a guy that's 6'8", throw the ball up and let him catch it. And you haven't used him in 2 games? Get out of here. The Booster Club will pay the bill.
Please, help us.
That has been what every single interview has been like today. We haven't even asked people to talk to us. I just stand here and I go like this, and people come up and they start talking to us.
My last name is Cavucci. I'm the only Italian you ever see with a mullet. And a real gold chain.
The football games are fun. We know we have a good time. Yeah, we have a great time. But, I mean, I wish the parking was cheaper. You realize they give tickets for $100 a parking ticket?
What, in a college area?
That's the price to get a parking pass. I mean, LSU!
What do you think about the parking on campus?
Oh my goodness.
I keep hearing them play this song, Neck, and I can't tell what the lyrics are.
Suck that tiger.
That's what I thought they were. Just download the Game Time app and use code Lucy for $20 off your first order. Term supply.
Yo, the Dan Le Batard Show, mess with it. Yo, that's where it's at.
Go Tigers!
Go Tigers!
And last night in the
arms of a girl in
Louisiana! Dan, man, we have never gone to a game here where it has not ended up with LSU losing by 30 points, and it's happened again. What are you going to do? There does seem to be a common denominator in this, and it's not me. It might be Brian Kelly. His time could be up. We already got Sam Pittman at Arkansas fired. I do believe that I was responsible for James Franklin getting fired as well. So I wrote this song. Operator, won't you put me on through? Got to talk to the AD to get Brian Kelly fired. Hurry up, won't you put him on the line? Got to get someone to coach this team. Color Baton Rouge. Whoop! Whoop!
She's on a run here of getting coaches fired. She met Zaz for the first time in Baton Rouge. How'd that go, Zaz? You hadn't connected with Lucy Rodin
before. It was great.
Before.
She made her debut on my podcast, Zaslow Show 2.0, last week, and we were at the Rare site together, and ran into her. We were sitting next to each other in the press box.
She represents the Dan Le Batard Show very well wherever it is she goes. What did you think, Lucy? Welcome of the Brian Kelly firing.
Oh, I thought it was funny. What do you mean? I think that's the most appropriate answer. It was hilarious. I think what was so funny to me about this, it was such a perfect little example of what Brian Kelly's career was, where if he had just not been deeply unpleasant for one conversation, he would probably still have a job right now. But his commitment to being the worst is why he got fired.
Chris Cody thought we should do a segment sponsored by, I don't know, a toilet paper company of Brian Kelly is a piece of bleep, that he is not a kind person, and people are happy to see his arrogance humbled.
No, I think that's accurate. It's been a little funny to watch sort of online the reaction to this, where it's just been a bunch of people sharing their Brian Kelly horror stories, and there's truly not one nice word said about him. And I think you can kind of see that. And normally what happens when a head coach gets fired, you see a ton of decommits the following day or people entering the transfer portal. You haven't seen that because people were going to LSU in spite of Brian Kelly, not because they wanted to be around him. So truly his demise, not winning enough football games for LSU standards, but just being so deeply unpleasant that when he had the chance to keep his job, he could have talked to the AD and just done what he had asked. The AD was like, please just fire your offensive coordinator and we can move along. And he was like, no, I want to fire more people. And the AD was like, I don't need you to fire more people, just the offensive coordinator. And he was like, no, I'm going to fire everybody. And it started this big fight. And that's why they decided to let him go on Sunday. He could have still been there had he just been not the worst for 10 minutes, but he physically can't do that.
He really comes off like a total asshole. There's the one clip during the game the other night where you have the big punt return by A&M, and you see him go up to his special teams coach mid-game and tells him, this is what's going to get you effing fired. And then you have this tweet by this Matthew Langlois, who mentioned, I was forced to medically retire before I can get a second or third opinion. When I was playing very well before my injury, I'd hear from Coach Kelly quite often. The second I got injured, not a word since. Genuinely one of the worst humans I've ever been around. And then you also have that story from, I think his name's Greg Brooks, his player last year who had to leave the team, brain cancer, and he can't walk anymore. He's very sick, and the family claims that they've never heard from Coach Kelly. It was on ABC. It was a whole thing earlier this year. He seems awful, Lucy.
No, I heard the same thing from Kyron Lacey's parents, that after everything that happened with him, they did not hear a word from Brian Kelly. And I have probably seen 10 to 15 similar stories over the last 24 hours of people who are just he's worse than you think he is. There is not a redeeming quality at all with this guy. And the real bummer is damn, he gets $56 million for being the worst. That doesn't seem right. That's not cool.
How does this affect all the other firings? What is happening? Which are the good jobs out there? This is the best one out there.
I think this is the best job right
far.
now.
Far?
Outside of Ohio State and Texas is one of the best jobs in
No,
America.
but best job available. Best job that's actually in play for somebody.
Lucy, you think it's by far the best job out there right now?
Absolutely. Brian Kelly is the only coach within the last 20 years that has gone to LSU and not won a national championship. And I think that's because of Brian Kelly and because of like how he operates and who he is. If you look at LSU, they're the only public Power 4 school in the state of Louisiana, which is a great recruiting area. And I know people say recruiting doesn't matter, but I think it still very much does. They have close proximity to Texas. There is money at LSU. There is a lot of those fans. You saw those fans on the video. They're insane. They give so much money to that school. They care deeply. They have a good NIL. Like, it is a school that is destined to do well. And there's this cool factor with LSU that Brian Kelly definitely messed up quite a bit. They're going to have to rebuild that significantly. But like LSU, you can recruit, you can win. LSU is like a vessel. You just have to drive the ship and you will get to a national championship. There is so much just potential and talent and resources with that school that, like, okay, you look at Florida, yeah, that's a good job, but you're competing with Miami, Florida State, and then everybody who comes into the state of Florida. And you have just, it's a little, I know LSU is messy when the governor gets involved with firing the head coach, but Florida is also very messy. Penn State's in the Big Ten. I don't necessarily know if you don't have the same sort of recruiting level that you do at LSU than you would Penn State. So it is the best job available. I think it's like one of the best jobs in college football, period. I would put it up there with Ohio State, 1-2 for me, and just like how good of a job that is. And because of that, if you're Florida State, if you're Auburn, if you're Kentucky, Michigan State, Wisconsin, all these schools, they're in a weird spot where you're very clearly unhappy with your head coach. You're looking around and you're seeing this coaching carousel get more and more competitive. Are you comfortable firing who you got right now, knowing that you're probably not going to get your first choice, your second choice, your third choice, maybe not your fourth choice? It kind of like leads this sort of weird decision making for some of these ADs, some of these schools of like, okay, well, we know we're not going to get who we want if LSU's in the mix, if Florida's in the mix, Penn State's in the mix. Do we just suck it up, have another really crappy year, pay a smaller buyout, and then wait when this coaching market is way less competitive?
Lucy is headed back to Columbus this weekend for Ohio State, Penn State in the Horseshoe. Mike, who would your first call be to if you're LSU?
I think this one's obvious, and they're one of a few places that have the balls to make this call. I think it's Nick Saban, folks. Nick Saban says he's had one career regret.
Amazing.
He's had one career regret, and it was leaving LSU. I think it should have been the first call that they made. Whether or not he was receptive, that's another discussion. But they kind of owe it to their fan base and that program. First call you make is to Miss Terry.
And you heard Miss Terry said she hasn't seen the numbers yet. You know what wives love.
Lucy, what do you think there?
No, I agree. Miss Terry's the first call you make, and you give Nick Saban a blank check. You say, whatever you want, come on down home. We've seen you on College Game Day. Clearly, you miss ball. I don't know if Nick Saban goes or not. I really have no sort of read on that situation, but it's the first call you make. Outside of that, I think you call Joe Brady. I think you have to call Lane. Lane's going to coach 6 different teams next year. I'm excited to see how that works out. And then also I'd call Summerall at Tulane, because I think that's sort of what you've got going on right now. Nick Saban is obviously the best option, and it's funny because like normally that sounds like a joke, but it's a legit possibility that LSU could get Saban.
I think Texas A&M is good. I'm not sure about the rest of the conference. What do you make of the fact that Texas is squeaking past and Alabama are squeaking past teams like South Carolina and Mississippi State?
So for Texas, look, I will give Texas credit to start off with. You came back from down 24 points in Starkville, which is a ridiculously difficult place to play. I don't know if y'all have ever been to a game with those cowbells. They're awful. They really do fry your brain. And I think it's genuinely the toughest environment, one of them, in the SEC because of those things. So you come back. Arch Manning actually played really well that game. Like, you have things to look forward to. I understand he got hurt. Texas has needed 3 overtimes to beat Kentucky and Mississippi State, who I believe combined have 1 SEC win over the last year. Like, this is not a position that you want to be in. And then you have all this stuff with, there's rumors coming out that Sark's like, you know what, I'll take the Titans job. I don't care. I'll fail upward. That's fine. He comes out and he's like, absolutely not. I would never do that. That's so fake. Which, like, it's whatever. I don't take any of that stuff that coaches say seriously. I think that, like, we are not giving enough credit to how embarrassing this Texas performance is. Like, Texas should not be ranked by any means right now. They are not a good football team. You are struggling against teams that cannot win SEC games, and what you're going to tell you is, like, this shows you how deep the SEC is. What I think it really shows you is how bad Texas is.
Oh. That means you unload on Texas this weekend against Vanderbilt.
What means that? No, go ahead. Hit your imaging.
Time to get in it. It's Lucy's Internet Minute.
I really do love that. I always forget the voice every single time. So the internet has not been vibing this week, Dan. I hate to tell you. They're only working on Halloween costumes. So really, my feed has been kind of weird. It's been a lot of tarot card readings. There are a lot of big things coming up for me. Excited about that. And then this guy that plays songs on rubber chickens.
I don't like how many people on the internet say that this guy looks like me. I got tweeted this video a bunch of times. You guys can hit it here.
That's you, Chris.
He does look like you.
Watch him.
Just squeezing a bunch of rubber ducks.
A lot more talented than you.
All right, I don't want to get us binged.
How does he tune them?
That does not look like me.
It does. I thought it was you.
So much like you.
I think it is you.
I thought it was you.
All right, maybe it does.
It's got the surface area of forehead that would appear if you ever took off a baseball cap.
Chris, how do you make the ducks sound like that?
Really? You tune them.
The chickens. They're not ducks. They're rubber chickens.
They might be ducks.
It should be ducks.
They're not ducks.
Your algo is dialed. I got him doing chop suey on mine.
Very thin ducks.
Lucy, thank you. Enjoy Ohio State. Good seeing you. Good talking to you.
Do you think I get Ryan Day fired? He's done after I'm there.
You've got a hot streak going.
Oh, no, we didn't get her to settle the debate if UM runs the ball up the middle too often. We didn't spend enough time on it in the local hour.
I didn't know you looked like that, Jeremy. Oh, my God.
How do you feel about that?
Right?
It's
It
on
makes
the
you feel
line,
some
right?
kind
It's
of
a
way.
little bit. It's
Too dark.
It's borderline.
Safer out.
Problematic.
Let's go to first base
when you
umpire
say-
Lucy.
Roy said it's okay.
No, well, he doesn't. He's not the decider for everybody.
Well,
Wait, what?
On this front, he better be.
For
I'm going to go.
everybody. Okay, she's going to go. I thought she was going to select whether or not what Jeremy was wearing as a costume was problematic or not. We've got to get to more Ohtani, more greatest baseball game ever played, and we're going to do so by going to Tony's top 5 on the NFL. Poor Jeremy. We really should be talking about this game last night. 18 innings.
Greatest athlete that's ever lived.
Whiteboard
in
segment
the
was
greatest
longer than the
game
game.
that's ever been played.
Before we get to Tony, wherever it is that Tony is, can you guys just put up for me a couple of different video things that we have of Justin Bieber's response, Justin Bieber's reaction to Ohtani's home run last night, and also get for me, if you do not mind, the legends who were in the skybox telling everybody in baseball that you needed to continue to walk Ohtani. He was on base 9 times. It's a ridiculous thing to say. I did not think it was possible to be on base 9 times.
It's not. He's the only one to do it.
In a
It's a
baseball.
tough
And he's
ticket.
pitching today.
Must be a tough ticket based off where Justin Bieber was sitting.
Yeah, that is not particularly close to the field, but no, he's in a skybox.
He's in a suite.
Yeah,
It looks like just club level to me.
Yeah, it does.
So what happens? He's down on Ohtani.
He's Canadian, so he's a big Blue Jays guy.
How about the guys in the skybox? Let's see all the legends who were just saying you got to walk Ohtani in this spot. You've got, who do you have in this box? You've got Gary Sheffield,
Prince Fielder, Shane Victorino, Flying Hawaiian I see there. Just a bunch of legends. Just everyone holding up 4 fingers like, no, you don't pitch to this guy.
Bunch of cowards.
I don't know, man.
Ryan Howard.
It didn't go well when they did pitch to him. Like, you rather give him one base freely than have him take all 4 against your will, I think. Where is Tony? Do we know where Tony is as we go to him for Tony's top 5?
I saw it in preview, and I know exactly where he is. I recognize it inside of 3 seconds.
Oh, look at this. This is very exciting. He's at Flanagan's. He's where we're going to be on Thursday night because Miller Lite is helping us throw a block party. We're going to have a watch party on Thursday night, and there is Tony right there celebrating, tailgating 2 days early. Look how happy he is. Look at him. He's a giant Ohtani fan all of a sudden. What a bandwagoner.
Giant Ohtani fan.
what
Dodger.
All of a sudden.
What a bandwagoner you are there. What are you doing wearing a Dodger cap today?
Dan, I'm a massive Dodgers fan. What are you talking about?
You are.
Since earlier this
absolutely.
morning.
18 innings last night. Probably one of the most incredible games I've ever seen. Freddie Freeman does it again. He did it again last October, and he does it again now. Ohtani, the best baseball player we've ever seen. I'm excited to see him tonight on the mound. And we got Yamamoto one more time at the end if we don't kill him in 2, so I'm very excited.
He's one of the liars. Tony's one of the liars from last night.
You don't think he saw the game last night?
The whole
You don't
game?
think- You
No.
think he?
Nobody did.
Tony, how many? No, that's not
Even
true.
the players didn't.
That's not.
They were napping. The players were napping in the clubhouse.
Seventh inning nap.
Sleeping during a nap. 17th inning nap. And you know it.
just a useless contribution from you, like fundamentally empty.
So proud of himself.
He is. How can you?
For being
How
useless.
can you be proud of yourself about what it is that you did? Let's do Tony's top five NFL observations.
Wait, hold on, Dano. Hold on a second. Wait. Oh, hold on. I'm here in front of the Flannies because I want to promote what we're doing on Thursday night. Presented by Miller Lite. Watch party for Thursday Night Football. Dolphins versus Ravens. Right here. Literally right here. I'm boots on the ground right now, right in front. There's going to be people as far as you can see. Danny, pan that way. Pan over that way. There's going to be people that way all the way down. This block party is going to be absolutely insane. Party starts off at 8 o'clock, kickoff at 8:15. Plus, come in a costume because there's a $1,500 costume contest presented by Flanagan's, presented by Miller Lite. Dan, this is my home Flanagan's right here. We're going to do my top 5. I'm going to walk over in a second, so I'm going to need you to filibuster for about 15 seconds. Underneath the Tiki Hut. That's where I pick up my Flanagan's. You could see me on a random Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, wherever. I'm right there.
Oh, the chicken nachos.
Very exciting.
I'll filibuster for you now as I turn the show over to Greg Cody, who
They're cooking the ribs right now, by the way, Dano.
I think Greg Cody is mad that the Ravens are a 7.5-point favorite at Miami for the game that we will be there for on Thursday night.
Yeah, I'm not mad. I'm a little surprised. I think the Dolphins getting 7.5 at home off their performance Sunday is a good buy. I'm surprised.
You always think that. You always pick the Dolphins. You always pick the Dolphins to cover. You are one of the world's great homers.
Totally false. I did pick the Dolphins to cover last week, and I was right.
You always do.
I do not always do. Quit lying.
You take against the Browns.
You always think they're going to be better than they are. That's
I
a
picked
consistent
Cleveland to
thing.
win.
See what you did, Dan?
What about cover?
You're killing him, Dan. No, I think Baltimore's going to win the game. I think L-Jack's going to have a big game. I wish he was still a Lobo, but I do think the Dolphins plus 7.5 is a good buy, good home dog. I'm sure I'm not the only one in America. Matter of fact, I'm going to say the line might go down to 6.5. That kind of thing.
Tony is now in position to talk about his top five NFL observations brought to you by
Smirnoff, Dan. It's top 5, Tony's top 5, presented by Smirnoff, the official vodka sponsor of the National Football League. Smirnoff, please drink responsibly. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. Vodka, 40% alcohol by volume.
Dan, I'm here underneath the Tiki Hut. Very exciting. Not many Flanagans have Tiki Huts. This is one of a rare few that has a beautiful Tiki Hut. And as you can see, Big Daddy over my left shoulder, my right shoulder here. We've got a couple OLIs. I'm going to hit them to you real quick. Boom, boom, boom. And then we'll start with the top 5. All right, first OLI. Myles Garrett had the best defensive performance from a rusher that I have ever seen with my own 2 eyes. Hashtag save him. I'm joining Mike Ryan.
I couldn't find it yesterday. I looked all over. I'm going to dedicate my life to finding Mike Ryan's initial reaction to Myles Garrett's trade request because he didn't want him rescued back when I was arguing he needed to be rescued.
The player empowerment guy's like, yo, you're stuck. You're stuck. If you don't perform, they can cut you. But you perform, you're stuck.
That's what I was arguing.
Save him.
That's what I was arguing back when I was talking about player empowerment, and you were on the other side of it.
False. And you couldn't find the audio to back
I'm going
it
to
up.
find it. I'm going to keep
he did
looking
plenty,
for it.
and it resulted in the greatest contract ever at the time.
And he's going to suffer for the remainder of his career in something below mediocrity because he chose the money. He is going to suffer all the way to the bank.
All right, another OLI. We had this conversation yesterday, Dano. You can talk about Mike with it after the break. Salute to Travis Kelce for his 83rd touchdown, tying Chiefs legend Priest Holmes for most touchdowns in Chiefs franchise history. Next one, he is the record holder. Shout out to the boy, Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Attaboy. Packers continue to just kind of hover under the radar. They're 5-1-1. they kind of pop up and they're like, oh, they lost to Cleveland. Oh, but wait, they beat Pittsburgh. They're 5-1. I'm keeping an eye on those Packers.
Why did they lose to Cleveland?
They lost to Cleveland and tied Dallas.
So stupid.
And otherwise they'd be 7-0, and we'd be saying they're better than the Colts.
Last OLI here. Poor Andy Dalton. That's all.
It's good.
All right, number 5. Speaking of those Ravens, don't look now, but Snoop Huntley just saved the Ravens season. They're going to go on a little bit of a streak here. Pittsburgh on the way down. Baltimore is rising. They're going to win that division. Remember, I told you that. Lamar's going to come back. They're going to beat the Dolphins. They're going to be all right.
You also
Snoop
said
Huntley just saved the Ravens season.
You also said Davis Mills was going to be good.
And who said something today earlier in
Diana
the show
did
about
mention
that?
Davis Mills.
No, wait a
He's
minute.
valuable
Diana said both things. First of all, she said that if anyone calls the Texans on Davis Mills, the answer is no way. And she said, like Tony, about an hour before Tony, the Ravens are going to make the playoffs.
They're the favorite by DraftKings right now to win that division.
Yep.
Well, here's the thing, Dano. I told you 3 weeks ago that the Ravens were going to make the playoffs. So I actually beat her by 3 weeks. So if you want to go back and do that math, you can give me the source on that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Continue.
One day, you know what? When I'm dead and gone, you guys will appreciate me.
Whoa.
I promise you that.
Whoa.
Yeah, you guys attribute all these great takes to other people, and I said it 3 weeks ago. It's crazy.
It's because you take all the takes.
Anyways. Thank you. Number 4, felicidades to a belated National Tight Ends Day over the weekend. 12 touchdowns scored by tight ends. Tucker Kraft, Dallas Goedert scored 2 each. Shout out to the tight ends. I love tight ends. Remember, Andrew Hawkins says I could have played tight end in college. We're still going to work on that, by the way. Where is Hawk?
It's a good question.
Guy was in every Friday. Now he's a ghost. Halloween's Friday. Come on, buddy. All right, number 3. Broncos are combined 6 points away from being undefeated. Circle the date 11-16, Dano. A who's who game in the AFC West. Broncos versus Chiefs 11-16.
Oh, they're going to miss Surtain, though. That one really hurts. I thought that Denver closed the gap, but you cannot lose that player and be the same defense, especially when you're chasing Kansas City.
Kansas City's chasing them, Dano.
No, they're not.
Number 2. We'll see about that. Number 2, Drake May has quickly become the most fun-to-watch quarterback and fearless quarterback in the league. Dan, you've been talking about guys throwing horizontally here, horizontally there, low A-dots. Patrick Mahomes isn't the guy he used to be, throwing the ball 50 yards down the field. Drake May is that guy. He's the next evolution of, we were nervous to throw deep, now all we do is throw deep. That's the guy right there. Really like Drake May.
There are a couple of guys in the league. Can you guys think of them off the top of your head? Because Burrow used to be this. There are a couple of guys in the league who have the pocket presence. Aaron Rodgers used to have this. It's not the same anymore. Drake May can absolutely feel what's going on behind him in a way that is really confident in the pocket. Jordan Love has some of this. That long play to Tucker Kraft the other day was absurd, that he was able to the ball was floundering out there and it went for 50 yards. Give me the guys that you think of having in that league the feeling that they know someone is behind them. There are only like 4 or 5 of them.
Baker's gotten there.
I think Dak's pretty good at it.
Stafford.
There aren't many.
Stafford, I would say, yeah. Plus, he didn't have great receivers, Drake May. I mean, that's all, not all him, but a lot of that, what's happening right now, is Drake May. He's great.
Number 1,
Dano. The Colts have the best record in the league, the best point differential by 49 points over second place, the aforementioned Patriots. Through 8 weeks, they stand at 3.46 in points per drive, only training the 2007 Patriots at 3.57. And they have more points through 8 weeks, 270, than Andrew Luck and any Peyton Manning-led team. Only trailing Johnny U, the boy. So the Colts are legitimately probably the best Colts team we've seen in the last 60 years.
It's good.
That would be a crazy thing to say. Thank you, Tony. We will be out there Thursday night. All of us. We will be out there on Thursday night at Flanagan's. Appreciate the top 5 every week. Appreciate that you are hustling all over South Florida. Thank you, sir. That is crazy. The stats he just gave, I believe the offensive age makes it so that we have to be careful how we do some of this stuff. I don't think anybody listening to this would believe that this Daniel Jones offense is better than all of the Peyton Manning offenses that allowed Peyton Manning to win MVP of the league. But statistically, what he's saying is so through half a season. How do I convince America through half a season? You've seen several seasons of Daniel Jones. How do I convince America through half a season, hey, Daniel Jones is better than any offense the Colts had with Peyton Manning?
I think you show a photo of Jonathan Taylor. I think Jonathan Taylor is continuing the running back renaissance in the NFL. Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Jonathan Taylor. If you have an extraordinary running back, your quarterback is much better.
Yeah, but it's not like Peyton Manning didn't have Marshall Faulk and then Edgerrin James. You know, these are great. These guys were just as good, if not better, than Jonathan Taylor.
Well, but that's going back a long ways.
And Marvin Harrison is better than Pittman, but statistically, what do you do with the information that he just presented you, which is he's saying best Colts offense in 60 years. He's saying best Colts offense since Johnny Unitas. And I don't believe I can convince anybody who knows football or anybody who doesn't know football that through 8 games, Daniel Jones is better than the offense that Peyton Manning ever ran. That's not something, I'm not going to be able to convince anybody of that.
No, I'm not sure how you do that because at least like in the NBA when the numbers are inflated, it's like, okay, they play a lot faster now than they did back then. The NFL hasn't changed that way. Like, you can't really play faster. There's no real.
It's not faster, but passing offense is something that that can be more explosive.
But passing
now.
numbers are down this year. But
they are down this year. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's efficiency, right? And it's almost like the NFL now needs a stat sort of like OPS plus in baseball, where it goes in comparison to your own era, right? So when you look at OPS, yeah, those numbers are way up now because guys are trying to slug the ball more. But when you look at it in comparison with your own era, it's based on a scale of 100, and you can know how great you were at that time.
No,
That's
we're
why
talking
Barry
about football
Bonds
right
numbers
now,
are crazy.
Man, not baseball. We're talking about football.
Shohei Ohtani would be better than any of these guys at football.
But don't you trust it's going to come down to in the postseason. They're going to be an underdog because the betting public is just going to decide Daniel Jones has to prove us wrong. But you keep waiting for these moments in games. They're just running through TCB games like nobody's business. They're performing well on the road, and he's not making the mistakes. He looks fantastic,
Very
and we're at the
comfortable.
midway point of the season.
Very comfortable. They are making it look easy. They are scoring 30 points a game, but we have not caught up to what the Colts are. They're scoring 30 points a game the way the Chiefs used to score 30 points a game, and over the last 3 or 4 games, the way the Chiefs look. But back when all the overs on the Chiefs were always, they will score. The betting number on the Chiefs for several years was 31 and a half for a game. That's where the Colts are. They are super efficient on offense.
I'm at the point now where I still look, it's a Daniel Jones-led team. I guess I got to see it too, just like everybody else. But if they do end up getting eliminated in the playoffs, I think it's more likely that it's the defense. And you could throw all over those guys. I trust the offense way more than I trust that Indianapolis defense.
I think it's a similar spot as Sam Darnold last year, where the Vikings had this great – I mean, they won 14 games without winning division. Vikings had this great regular season. Sam Darnold was really good. It's like, okay, but in the biggest game of your career, which was twice, it was Week 18 against Detroit. He was terrible. And then the wild card, he was terrible. I feel like we're kind of in the same spot with Daniel Jones. You can have this great regular season. Your team can have a great regular season, but let's see what you do.
Well, correct me here, Mike, please. Can you look this up for me? Because as I recall, the Vikings had a lot of one-score games. The Colts, by a wide margin, have the best point differential in the league. They're not playing close games. They won the one against Denver that was close. They scored a lot in the one against Denver and lost the game at the end, and only a penalty on a field goal ended up nullifying the miss that would have ended up in a loss at home for the Colts Colts to the Broncos, the team or a team that they are likely to face in the playoffs. Can you guys walk me through what you think on this, though? The running back, in a way that has been really, really precipitous, has lost value. The 4 running backs in the league, and Derrick Henry has not been this year, but the 4 running backs in the league that people look at and say, those are the 4 best, the most elite by a wide margin, are Saquon Barkley, in whatever order you want to do this. Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Bijan Robinson, and Jonathan Taylor. The Colts are winning because of Daniel Jones and Jonathan Taylor on offense. How can you tell me the running back's not valuable? How can you tell me when the running back looks like that and is that hard to tackle, has that center of gravity, has that kind of balance? I guess I'd put James Cook in there somewhere too.
But you only mentioned 4. Like, there are 32 teams. So, wouldn't that be why the running, okay, those are freaks. Those guys are a cut above everybody else. I don't know that there's this resurgence in running backs when we only named 4.
But you can't say it's that disposable and that unimportant when I believe all of us would say that Jonathan Taylor would be in the MVP conversation.
Well, that's exactly what I said, and I also said he's the reason why Daniel Jones is doing as good as he is. And to amplify that, according to DraftKings NFL MVP odds, Daniel Jones is only 6th in the MVP category, which is not great for his stats. Jonathan Taylor is the number 1 running back in the MVP race, which is unheard. Running backs never win. By far. So Jonathan Taylor, you can disagree, is the key to Daniel Jones doing what he's doing.
The Vikings last year played 10 one-score games and were 9-1 in them. It's easier to unmask Sam Darnold in the playoffs on the road when that happened.
But what Sam Darnold had going for him was a defense. Colts don't have that defense.
Sack.